We good, Alan? Or want me to wait? Are we live?
Yeah, now we are recording and you can start the meeting.
Okay. 6 o'clock, welcome owners, good to see you, glad you're here.
Ciao. It'd be good if you log in and we do the same thing as last time. When you speak, you unmute yourself so the recording and the transcript can also pick you up better.
In the meantime, I'll continue and use my boisterous voice to carry all the way to your computer.
Very good.
We have 4 out of 5 board members here, so we have a quorum.
Just bring the volume down on your computer.
And with that, we will get through a couple different updates tonight. So thank you, Tiffany, for being here. Appreciate it. And I'll just go straight into the treasurer's report.
Okay, so good evening to all. I will not be able to turn it on today, sorry.
What? No?
So let me just go to the treasury report. Like always, I will provide this afterwards. So I would start with some property manager pending points, and today I would like to start with one that we've been talking over all these weeks. And for me, probably this is the most important, is the special assessment. So what is the status? Do we have the communication ready, the settling of
Okay, so I reviewed your meeting minutes from when you guys spoke about the special assessment. I think it was on January 10th was when you guys had approved the special assessment for the roof replacement. Correct?
Excuse me?
For the roof replacement, the special assessment for the
The
roof
special
replacement?
assessments that we are talking about here is to pay back the loan
The
to
loan.
Valley Bank.
Okay,
So
the transmittal, that letter that we have to create that goes to the owners. So then the only thing that I have wrong here is for the loan. So it's the special assessment is for the loan. So the fees that you guys, that I was provided were in payments that either they could pay one payment in full.
yes,
And it varies depending on the percentage of ownership, or 120 months installments, correct?
correct.
Okay, and then the total for that was, I think it was 700,000,
700,000.
right? Okay, so I had created a notice, because that's the main thing, is you guys need to see the notice to approve it, so we can send out to all the owners and provide them with their fees per unit. So, this is what I had created, but what I have on here is for the roof replacement capital project. When in actuality, it's to pay off the loan. So the loan was for, here.
Okay, so thank you so much. What I would say is that if you can send us a
Yeah.
revise by in digital.
Correct.
We're gonna read it and the next meeting will approve and.
Right.
Let me ask you, besides the communication, we need also all the procedures. So we're gonna have an account only, and by the way, we have a ton of accounts in Valley Bank. So one of them can be used for these. That is the account that is gonna receive this money, and also in Billion, we should have something completely dedicated to the special assessment. So we keep it separate. Is this already being settled?
I spoke to Orlando about this. That is not a problem. It can be done. There is a charge. There's an additional charge to set that up through Building so that the owners can pay directly toward their special assessment.
Yes.
But it's just a charge that I'll find out the exact amount and I'll let you know, but there is a charge to set that up in Building.
One-time charge
a
or per
one-time.
transaction?
A one-time charge to set it up.
Okay.
Once that's set up, then any payments that owners want to make toward the special assessment can be directly deposited right into their special assessment and to your Valley Bank, Valley National Bank special assessment account.
Okay, perfect. And do you think next week when we sit down, we're gonna have the operational part and we also gonna approve the communication on our side so we can start communicate with because the sooner we communicate with the owners, and we are now getting close to the end of February, next week will be the 14th. it'll be great that we can communicate with the owners ASAP.
Right, so my goal is to get you guys this, I only printed this out, this is already saved as a file on my computer. All I'm gonna do is send it to you, I just wanted to show you
Okay.
that this is the notice that will go to each unit owner. It has the breakdown of the fees per unit, so they know their unit number, it has their percentage of ownership, and then it gives them the option if they want to pay it in full or 120-month installment.
Yeah.
So once you guys read over this and make the corrections that you want made, I'll make the corrections, and then we can send this out by Friday if you want to send it out.
Perfect, perfect. The only thing I already see here is that even if people do not pay 120 right now,
Mhm.
they may take the decision wherever in the process.
Mhm.
They just have to give you a notification on my employer to liquidate everything that is still as a loan.
Correct.
So after, imagine 3 years, somebody decides to pay back
Mhm.
because he has a huge income and wants to deduct in taxes, for example.
Right.
They only have to have one month and say, look, I want to, and we calculate it and then we.
Right,
So it's not only the possibility in the beginning, it's going to be an ongoing possibility.
correct.
But let me revise and we all going to revise and we're going to feedback. Thank you so much, because now we have one step further. Very well. Second topic, December 2023 reconciliation explanation and understanding. So, first thing, so when I look at the numbers, and I know, and I just want for the record some of the topics here, and probably we need to set the meeting to talk about some of these. We want to close the 31 of December with some topics that are already been decided by this board, and we have a clear picture of the balance as it is. So, example, I continue to see the $200 petty cash. I continue to see the due from Alberto. I continue to see things like a mismatch between the Valley Bank accounts because I have all the 31 of December's and the numbers here. So I don't know if we are still needing to do a revision. I believe yes, and I'll explain why. First of all, because doing all the write-offs of the $200 and the costs or expenses in the due from Alberto, but more than that, we started this process, and I can tell you, we had something like accounts receivable in the order of $20-something thousand, okay? And right now, so when we looked at the delinquent association owners, we had 22,000, okay? So when we look at the delinquent owners right now, we look at 11,000. So we just lost here $12,000. So the balance sheet was reduced. What I can't understand is that how can we take out of the balance sheet any value without any type of counterpart? So if I have paid something for Robert and I put in my balance sheet after spending this money that Robert is owing me $1,000, I just cannot go to the balance sheet and take out $1,000 and everything is okay. So there's something in balance here. So we are somehow losing responsibilities from third parties, but we need to see, so where is the other part in accountancy? It can be a movement in the profit and loss. It can be a balance, but this was just taking out debt for the Leeward Point Association, so reducing our balance sheet, but there was not any type of adjustment.
Right.
Okay? And we need an explanation on this. And we go now then to each unit owners. And I don't know if you have the photograph of each one of them. I still don't have a match between what the email is saying that the unit owners are owing and the value that we have in the balance sheets in terms of arrears and delinquency. And this needs to be like a basic vanilla of saying, if this is the debt of these unit owners, this is the overall debt that in the balance sheet we can count on from these unit owners. So my question is, you guys want to go step by step? And I believe we need to go. There's one person here that is present that we need to discuss. And so I'll give you an example. Was a unit that we said, this unit is owing us $5,000. And suddenly say, okay, it's not owing us any more $5,000. So there must have been a payment that was generated to put $5,000 in the balance sheet. And so when we take out that $5,000 from the balance sheet, that payment needs to appear somewhere. So we cannot just move the balance sheet without moving the profit and loss in that case, or move the balance sheet without moving that, putting back the money that's justified. Because if not, tomorrow you're going to get to our balance sheet and say $5,000 Alfredo is owing. So it needs to have a balance in something else. And this is a basic law of accounting. So you're ready to have this discussion now?
Sure,
Okay.
I will answer what I can
Okay,
answer.
so
And I can also, Orlando is available by phone, so if
Perfect.
anybody can't answer something. I wanted to give you this though, because this is the delinquent owners as of 1/31. I know you guys have,
131?
yes, this is the one that you were provided with was from December 31st,
Yes.
2023. But I did print out the delinquent owners as of,
31st, yes,
Yes.
this is another thing, so thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
I'm almost saying it's my mistake.
Almost, almost. So let me go topic by topic. When we go, and sorry, I will have to say some numbers, but I will never say I hope not saying the name of people, but for example, unit 2, in the email from Orlando, we are talking about $2,500 to $2,500. But when I go to the delinquent association on 31/12, we see 1,600. And so there is a delta there. When we go for unit 12, we say we'll be adding late fees, but the unit 12, when I see it in one place, it appears 3,930. But when we took it some days before, this one matches. But so how can we, unit 24, for example, we had, and this is very relevant, and I don't know if you want to stop in each one of them, is that we had an electric board that was replaced almost one or more than 1 year ago. And suddenly, this unit owner was informed about that. So if we have a balance on the electric boards that this was the cost and this was the revenue and they match, it means, like I already said to Orlando, that part of the money that we put in this electric board was not accounting from this payment. So other payments were considered there. We need to take those payments out, put this new payment from the unit owner, and this money now comes not from a special assessment, but it comes from income from the association. And it's very strange that the numbers match,
Right.
you know, so. And then we go for unit 29, which is we cannot just, when we say invoice was removed, you paid the illegal balcony cost directly to Absolute Pro. I never saw a movement in the balance sheet without any type of replacement on the balance sheet or anything that has to do with a profit and loss.
right,
Another thing.
Can I ask real quick
Tell me.
on the 5,000?
Yes.
We were told by Orlando that the association paid Absolute Pro $5,000 directly for the enclosure. And that the association took that bill and put it on that individual's account.
Okay.
We received proof from that owner that he paid Absolute Pro directly. So when Orlando said that the association paid the builder $5,000 for that, A, is that accurate? B, if that is accurate, then the builder received 2 payments for the same thing.
yeah, well, like, you wanna do a call for that, because that is, I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, and so let's just run through the topics, and then I think we need the call. But
Okay.
we really need, and another thing is, for example, we have unit 27. And unit 27 was always mentioned by 2 months in arrears. Right now, this lady received a call saying it's only 1 month in arrears. So once again, we cannot just move out a partial from the balance sheet without saying, where is that money? Because that money must be in someplace else. The other thing is that what was reported is that this was owned since 2021. So how can we get to 2024 without doing this exercise? This exercise we are being requesting since the 2nd of January, since we got to this board.
Okay.
It's not admissible that we are in 2024 talking about this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how the board wants to handle, but there are rules in accountancy, and we just cannot put a number of 5,000 like Robert was saying and then take it out, or saying that unit 27 holds 2 and then we take it out. Because the next level is that, and this is very important, we are not going to put fees over anybody before we, first of all, communicate clearly what is the process. Then we engage with the persons to have the possibility of this person to say, no, I pay for everything because my bank is saying everything. Because right now I cannot rely on any of these numbers. And then when we have a process, we need to ensure that is an universal process. So I'm not going after Alfred in one way, Laura on another, Alan, because I don't like him, I will put even more fines on him. This cannot happen, you know, so we set a meeting to clarify these numbers. It has been 1 month that we don't have clarification on these numbers. And these answers, legally, they cannot even be put in an email. Because nobody can say that invoice was removed, or yes, it's not 2, it's only 1, because there's always a counterpart in accounting.
Can I say something, John?
Yeah.
5 different areas. You spoke to Laura recently regarding to the document you sent her. The document say that right now she don't have nothing on balance. Is everything okay? Do you remember this document? I don't know if it was you or one who sent to her.
I did to them, let me see.
Can you check? Because I checked with her and she don't have nothing. We checked the checks, is everything for 2021. Regarding to the document you sent, I think she's everything okay.
So here, is this report accurate?
What report? No. We are looking to December 31, then January. Let's look first for December 31st, because we need to close December, because only when I close December, then we can look at 21, 22, 23, and how do we enter on this year.
This is the December.
Okay. And I have it here. Yes, I have it here. Yes. If it's still 13,000, yes, I have it here. Okay. And so in this step that Laura is doing, I think it's the step even before anything else, which is communicating with people. By the way, I had emails where one neighbor was involved, that the neighbor said, I didn't even know about the electric boards. I didn't even know about this debt. So we need to communicate to the people, give the possibility of the people to talk with the banks, understand what the payments were done. Then we evaluate the deltas, but we need to do it. We are in February.
Correct.
Especially in a year, if we were, like we say in Portuguese, swimming in money, probably we could get these answers by May, okay? But right now, we are not. We are already negative, I must say, and I'm going to tell it afterwards.
So the balance is at the bottom here. The top balance here is for January of 2021. That's when her account statement starts.
Yeah.
The balance down here, it shows that she owes for association fee 2,284, which is accurate with the delinquent owner statement that was sent. So
But this is the problem. She checking the bank, all the checks was deposited and she don't have nothing missing. This is quite strange.
Did she pay for the electrical?
There is the checks there.
yeah, because the check numbers are here, but these check numbers are being deducted from the amount that she owed. So I don't know if she has checks that were not inputted
She
into.
paid everything, correct?
Yes.
She's been paying everything. This is quite strange.
So we definitely need, because for example, this $2,000 that you mentioned, in front of me, I have 1,596. And I realized when the call was made, somebody mentioned, by the way, I have an email says, usually a month behind. A month behind is $700. So between a month behind of the email of Orlando and this value of 1,500 and the number you just said of 2,200, which is free, 1, 2 are free. I don't know. It can only be one true. And so we need to figure out.
Yeah.
And whenever we figure out, we need to communicate properly to the owners, and the owners will talk with their banks. And the banks will say, yes, if the money was sent or not.
Laura really made his homework. She checked the payments for 2021.
You have a report, but you have the report from the bank?
She checked it, she paid it, and she had
So
all the
we
checks.
need the report.
The only thing I think could be a confusion there to the electrical board. But even the electrical board, she told me that she paid everything.
The electrical board doesn't match.
Was not in 2021.
No, and
the
it doesn't
electrical
match
part.
these values.
Well, from her statement, I'm just looking briefly at it, yes, there was an electrical special assessment. And it looks like that's when her account starts having a balance again. And then.
Maybe that month she paid for the electrical panel
And,
and didn't pay for.
and Ellen, this is exactly the point. We cannot be speculating about this.
Okay,
Period. It's like-
Then I think it's.
Want me to keep this or should
No,
she
it's
keep it?
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have the copy, just in case I can send you, but.
No, I have it.
You have it?
Okay. So,
Sure, I have the same problem.
Mhm.
I didn't know about the fiscal assistance. And only when they said
They
it
told us we have all the payments, they control.
but I have paid everything, then I found about the fiscal assistance.
completely.
Because I was not informed, I was not here, nobody informed me, so.
No, completely.
But now it's clear.
Yes, but even then, Manoli, when we are talking about your unit, there is a report that says there is still an outstanding balance. So we need those clarifications because this needs to be absolutely clear like water, and it's not right now. And right now, let me tell you, I have, yes, yes.
Every time I made something, I send an email and I say, this with a copy of my check.
Completely. So
That's it.
I completely. And I think the best photograph I have here is that 1 month in an email, 2 months in a report, and you mentioned 3 months. So only one can be true. So and this needs to be solved ASAP because we need to close 2023, which by the way, and that's why I don't want to discuss today the January 2024, because whatever we need to do as adjustments on December 2023 will impact January. So I'm sorry, but this number,
So,
Okay.
my case, I have sent the payment for maintenance for January and February.
okay,
I checked my bank and the checks are not put. I mean, well, the checks are, I got them by mail.
completely. Thank you so much.
Your check still,
Yeah.
It doesn't show. I got an email about the check for the special assessment from Tiffany, which will be paid. Where are the other two, checks that I made long time ago?
So
so apparently there are some checks around there.
it's,
I sent you the check, copy of the check.
so let me just,
As I said,
we need for one time to close the receivables on 31 of December of 2023. And by that time, we need to communicate with all the owners. I'm not talking about any fee for now, it's just communicating. Because we need then, for example, in the example of Manoli's, they say, look, the checks were already sent it, so where are the checks?
Does
Yes.
it show that the checks were taken out of your bank account?
No, they are not. So the checks were sent, but they're still not credited. So we need that photograph. The other thing is that when we look at each one of the months, because I think what is happening here is that we are not having accountability for each one of the months, which is very strange when some of these things happened more than 1 year ago, is that the exercise by the end of January needs to be very simple. Who are the people that pay the units? Which are the ones on arrears? So in the beginning of the month, after the 15 days of margin, we need to have a complete photograph of January with the payments, the non-payments, etc. And also in terms of the costs, because that will allow us also to control the budget and say, look, are we above the budget? Alfredo just lost his mind and suddenly is doing everything in the loans, etc. So it needs some balance there. So can we have an agreement that all before the 15? Okay, perfect. Okay, so.
So concluding on this, report
Mhm.
without going into detail, because this is something I've been hearing from the board, I mean, even from the previous board. I mean, we need the number to match. So Tiffany, I'm asking you and at the same time, in a way, putting your notice that please, you're the now responsible here, you are our point of contact. Do an investigative report, each unit. If you send a check, where is the check? Is it deposit? So we have exact knowledge of what's going on. Because numbers read too much.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I agree.
And I would just correct one thing, and I might sound arrogant. We had a treasurer that even never went to billion. So I think, yes,
Yeah.
some numbers were discrepancy, but let's, okay.
I wasn't trying to compare. you.
Yes, okay, just, okay, on December 2023, okay, the other topics I have here is that all the costs that are falling right now on 2024, there are costs from 2023. I'll give some examples afterwards, like the ones we are receiving from Becker. We have 5,175, 16 from November and December. We have the 911 restoration costs and others, and we need to allocate this to 2023.
Yes.
And when we are allocating, and I still don't see that in the balance, whatever comes from flooding goes to an account called flooding. Why? Because this is the account that whenever we see how much cost the flooding, when we talk with insurances, when we talk with the Absolute Pro or whoever is going to pay for us or ourselves, we have a notion of how damage was done. So there's an account for that, but it needs to start on 2023 because we're going to pay the 911 restoration and others. We have now other companies doing the assessment on the flooding on Sunday. The other thing is I separated from the last invoice of Becker what is related from the November, December. Another thing is the costs from Becker that goes into 2024. Perfect. This is cost from our board, but at the end of the day, it needs to be clearly the same thing. When we gave away all these checks, they are, for example, the Tiger Pass from November or the Tiger Pass from December. These are costs from last year. So we need to really close last year with the real cost and the real photograph of last year. And then we see how do we start. To see how do we start, a part of the balance is how much the owners own us. So clarity on those numbers. Perfect. Okay. Now, accounts receivable we have. January's maintenance. So for next meeting, we need to have the balance of the entrances and outs of January. Then, once again, we are still not even, I think we need to do it on the 31 of December, but even if I forget that, the balance continues exactly the same. So we continue to have a petty cash that nobody knows about the petty cash, at least in the last 2 years. The board already decided to write off, and we continue to have 1,822, which Alberto already provided a ton of receipts, etc. This board already approved to consider those receipts as expenses. So we need just to put those costs, which are not even from 2023, by the way, are from 2022. I don't know how you're going to do it, but at the end of the day, it needs to be there and taken out of the balance because we need to have a photograph. When I look at the balance, how much money do we have? How much reserves do we have, etc. Make sense?
Yeah, I did speak to
Okay.
Orlando about the petty cash, and he did say that petty cash cannot go into your operating reconciliations, which is one thing. So some associations that I work with does include that, but for your particular case, for the operating account, that petty cash cannot be added as into the operating account and reconciled in the operating.
Okay.
So that's something.
We just have to find a way to realize that somebody in the past, much prior to this board,
Right.
has lost whatever has to do with this petty cash. It has nothing to do with anybody from this board. So that's why we're calling it write-off.
Yeah.
Which is nobody knows where is the $200. We asked Orlando, we asked the previous board. I believe the previous board asked the previous board. My sons will not have to deal with the petty cash. So somebody needs to take a decision. Okay. Very well. Then budget. I know it's going to sound very small, but I send this to, okay, thank you. I send this also to the board, and I have some copies also, if you want to see. Thank you. So I will start in the strangest way possible. This is an operating budget. So I will start it with the assumptions. And the assumptions we say here is that all pending investments for 2 and 3 are within the special project and the special assessment that we have in buildings 2 and 3. So you're not going to see operating in there. The other thing is that the roofs, 1, 4, and Clubhouse are not here. It's going to be a decision on a special assessment, so we cannot go to operating and put something here like, we're going to spend $1 million. No, that is going to be treated separately. Now we go for the expenses related with the 50 years inspections. I can bring a crystal ball, or I can say, no, this will be treated separately. The only cost that is included here is the cost that the letter, so for the city of North Miami Beach already told us that for each one of the buildings, and I'm considering 6, so I'm also considering the trash house, which I don't know if they consider a building or not. So I'm considering 6 times the 260 they charge us. But if they tell us that we need to remove walls or we need to whatever, it's going to be treated as a special project or a special assessment. And that doesn't mean that we need to charge the community there, but according to the reserves that we're going to have, it's going to be treated like this. And finally, all expenses related with flooding episodes, that right now we know for sure that we have 911 restoration, the Surf Pro, we're going to have the dry walls, but probably in the medium future, we're going to have even the unit owners coming back to us and saying, you need to charge our insurance, and then our insurance charging us. This is also treated outside. So what we are seeing here is the operating. I don't know if we want to set for the next meeting the approval and the discussion. These numbers have been already circulating and being revised by the board. But I just want to highlight in this meeting, what you have here is an operating budget, looking to the operating income, the operating expenses. And so when I say that we are 188 positive in this budget, I'm just saying operating. I'm not considering the $40,000 of 911 restoration. I'm not considering everything that we're going to pay because of the floodings or deltas in the projects, and most especially the building 1, 4 in Clubhouse. That is still a huge incognita in terms of what the cost.
If anything goes wrong, this $188.
We'll cover for everything. Yes, that's exactly the message. We are still, let me tell you, we are still in the bank. So right now we are receiving the February maintenance fees. So we are still above $300,000. But what I want also that to have clarity in this meeting is that when we look at this 300,000, we have an invoice of 39,291.5 from 911 restoration. I put an estimate, an assumption of 4,000 of Surf Pro. We have probably 20,000, everything that has to do with forensic engineering in front of us. Probably this is a little bit inflationated. And then drywalls reparation, I assume one of our neighbors, and I multiplied it by 10. And if I add these, the current delta of the project that I is making the assumption, because nobody gave me until now this correct number, but I'm assuming the 197 that we presented, we have like costs in front of us, just the ones we are here without a big intervention besides of these of $330,000. And that means that without looking at to the building 1, 4 and the Clubhouse, we're already negative. Okay, so this is how we need to deal this year, and that's why we were talking, for example, about the invoice of one of our suppliers. We gonna need to make this work without any type of additional costs, because it's very easy that all the reserves we have right now are going to be completely out only with the special projects we have. Once again, the flooding, the current 2 and 3, the 1, 3, 4, and everything that has to do with the inspection, because I hope that everything passes, but I don't know exactly what other works. Any question or comment about this? Is it clear what I'm saying, that we have in front of us a balanced balance sheet? So I'm proposing not to increase the maintenance fees. The people will already in March have an increase about the special assessment, which is already an additional effort. But I'm not saying that to cover everything that is in front of us, even without the 1 4 in Clubhouse, there must be a big possibility of a new special assessment. Because I don't believe that the inspection of the 50 years will arrive here and say everything is perfect. You don't even have to change a railing. I don't know. So it's clear. Questions?
Okay.
In regards to,
Sorry?
The update meetings that I gave you.
All the updated maintenance, everything you gave me is here. And even pest control, not only for the surrounding of the house, but also from the lawns. So it's considered here 750 per quarter. Yes, all of this. Yes. And you saw, it's there, yes. And some of the values, even a small margin, so there's always things that we don't know.
In the aspect of the insurances, we know those are going up.
Well, we still don't know when we get to October, what we're gonna do. One week up in July. Yeah.
So I think there are two things here. First of all, evaluating alternatives with the current agent, but also evaluating a possibility of other agent and make some competition is always positive. And the other thing is that right now we are still having like a 20 down payment for any type of heavy. And as you know, we can play around with that sometimes to reduce the value of the insurance. So if you do a higher down payment, a deductible, yes, a deductible. So it's still far that we need to decide that, but I think as soon as we've been having like 100 emails per day in at least, So at the end of the day, I think like in the beginning of March, I think we should start to look at the possibility of renegotiating our insurances, to have the alternatives in the market. There is that possibility, but I also see the possibility of getting nicer prices.
Depending on coverage and depending on competition and.
Yes.
And commissions the agent takes, et cetera, et cetera.
Et cetera, et cetera. Yes.
Fortunately, in the insurance industry in Florida right now, there's no competition.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
It's
We are lucky to have insurance.
Mhm.
That's it, whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
Joel, for
Yeah.
your records,
Okay.
this is the general ledger of your Valley Bank loan from,
Okay.
starting from the 2021 all the way to current, so that shows
Yes.
the loan payments that were
Mhm.
made. And then this is your reconciliation for your operating account.
Okay, perfect.
And that's as of December 31st, and then this is your actual bank statement for your operating account as of December 31st.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next thing, I have a list, sorry. Tell me.
Should we vote on that?
I think we should put it in the next meeting, or if you guys want to vote already.
I don't see any reason to postpone it. Unless you want time to process it further individually.
I mean,
We don't need to force it now.
I think longer with numbers, that's reality.
Okay, so we'll do next time.
Okay.
It's perfect, it's perfect.
It doesn't
Yes.
impact anything right now.
Then, once again, in the reports, and we had a meeting on Monday with our attorney, we don't need to do this. You're gonna have in our minutes all the checks that were decided and paid by the board during the last week. So, and there are several, and then some topics to discuss and decide related with numbers. So we need to decide next steps related to Becker past due and current HOA invoices. So the past due is the 5,175. We also have the current one for January 617. We have the retainer fee. So regarding these, do we want to talk with our attorney? Do we want to ask Orlando or Tiffany?
You said, the return, if you forget about it, we're gonna pay the return. And,
Correct.
correct?
Okay,
And the invoice.
175.
175.
And the invoice, I mean, if we all.
So I'm gonna ask for the checks.
I don't think the doctor we fired him, they're gonna give us a discount, let's put it this way.
That's so true.
How about any pending matters, any pending legal matters like,
So I think for the pending legal, for example, for the IT requests of the communications, et cetera, that will be probably an extra invoice from
there's
Becker.
no collection, there's no.
I don't believe.
But that's not,
With any order?
but that is a communication. That's between the lawyers.
Yeah.
The new lawyer asked for any open and pending cases from the lawyer, but based on what we hear in terms of collections that initiate with property manager, I do not think anything, I could be wrong, but I don't think anything has been escalated to the lawyer level.
And the other thing, Alfredo, this is just for what invoices we already received. So we are not closing our relationship with Becker. We are just paying whatever already arrived to us as invoices. So the main question is, are we going to dispute or not? And I don't think we should, but we should pay.
I don't think we're gonna do this.
We don't have conflict.
I mean,
anyways.
To work with the biggest partner from.
So we pay around $175?
No, we don't pay the 175. We pay December and November, 5,175 plus the bill from January, which is 617 plus some cents. So I do a motion to pay.
Yes,
Anybody second?
second,
And pay.
Okay. Now, the second thing is that we have, by the way, we have a unit owner invoice of 62.5. So this is a second topic, which is, shall we, usually what happens, and Tiffany advises on this, please, which is usually we would pay the 62.5 and then we put this is a late fee or whatever that needs then to be transmitted to the balance of the unit owner, correct? So so I do a motion to pay the 62.5 and then we pay this money to Becker, and then we put in the balance sheet not as an expense, but as a debt from this unit owner, because this is related to a unit owner.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, this is exactly when I mentioned about that $5,000. The only reason to put something in the balance sheet is this: we pay something that we shouldn't be paying, so we then charge and we put in the balance sheet. So my motion is to pay also the 62.5, probably in a separate check, and then put it in our balance in the arrears that this specific unit owner needs to pay the 62.5, which is
It has to be added to their file as debt.
As a
debt. Yes, debt. So I do this motion.
second,
Okay, perfect. Now, next steps on 911 restoration. So we have now a unit being intervention by ServPro. So I would hold a little bit more the payments to 911 restoration, get the benchmark from this unit and try to negotiate with 911 restoration.
Yeah.
But that would be my recommendation, but
So I went ahead and spoke to Orlando about this. He said that we can negotiate it with them. So I asked him to schedule a meeting so we can talk about the invoice. They answered positively, welcome to have a conversation. We still didn't schedule it, but I agree with you. Let's probably we're gonna have the invoice from ServPro by Monday, or they should be done with the work. And then we can schedule a meeting based on the benchmark that you mentioned and the notes that you received. I don't know if you had a chance, because I didn't look analytically at the invoice. If it's 12 days of, or if it's 5 days, so that's the difference.
I have two comments. First of all, we are very quickly to align. So I would propose the board that any of these steps should be aligned among the board. That would be the first one. And the second one is that the second thing I'm saying here, and we already discussed this, is to have a proper discussion with them to send the required from information for all the unit owners. Obviously, they are going to have just an idea for them to tell us, no, the machine was never at our home, or no, the machine was disconnected, or they are telling us 12 days, but I believe it was no more than 2, because that will give us also negotiation power. So we send them a communication. You understand, Tiffany? I can write you an email and say, look, this is the invoice we received. Does this match the reality? Obviously, it counts what it counts, but at the same time, it will give us with the benchmark, and these give us some strength to negotiate.
So maybe what we can do in that aspect is the invoice has a detail of every unit and how many, amount of equipment, how many days, and all that stuff. So maybe we can send to every unit that was affected their portion, say, did you really have 2 humidifiers and 3 fans for this amount of time? And get the actual answer, because it's important so we can check the.
And
Make it
the,
simple for them.
and the other piece is going to be the unit 15 is now with Surf Pro. And imagine they drive that home in 3 days. We have some machines that were here 12 days. So between 3 and 12 or 4 and 12, there's a margin of negotiation. Each one of these machines costs a fortune per day. So we need to bring these
It
invoices.
sounds like you already did a review analysis on that invoice.
Yep.
Can you, if you have already?
No,
You didn't?
No, I didn't have I don't have any base right now to tell about 911 restoration if it's too much or not, because I don't know how much time it takes to dry a wall. So
But the work that they're done there is supposed to be no more than 4 days.
then it's great,
Okay.
because
so-
you have 12 days in some of the machines.
Okay, so those that call, okay, I'm gonna take a look at it again.
Okay. Yeah. So if
But-
that is the
so-
benchmark,
Okay?
Yeah,
If you wanna, we'll send you the invoice that you don't have it.
yeah, we can break it down by unit.
We'll bring it out here, but we need to do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and what we can do is send it to the unit owners and they can, confirm whatever it is. The service that was.
give us any
provided.
type of information in contrast with those emails.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we're gonna have Surf Pro benchmark, and then with that, we negotiate and say, guys, this is what the owners are telling us, this is an intervention in another unit. Obviously, we know that some of things take more time to dry than others, but the variance shouldn't be 3 times more. I don't.
Okay.
Okay. The other point I have is to set another meeting with Acareno Romano. There's a lot of questions for this report. Do we agree to set another meeting with Acareno Romano about the report of 2022 before moving
Yes.
into, okay, perfect. I'll send an email
What are
to.
we discussing right now? What point?
Oh,
Yeah.
we are we are still in the treasury report, but I'm about to. Now, I will give $25 to the property manager, so this is related with the FOB.
Let it be known.
Let it be known, okay. Okay, now, I put it this here is that we have received 11 surveys, but until now, for example, just on Sunday, because we had the flooding and we talked with a lot of people, I talked with 3 people, and all of those 3 people, none has received the survey. So my question is, shouldn't we send the survey again by email or whatever? Because people did not receive, though we were charged by a toner from the printer. I would say that if we are going to be charged once again for the toner of the printer, probably not. But I recommend that the surveys are sent again, because a lot of the homeowners are saying they never received.
Can I just do a status request for the homeowners here? If you raise your hand, have you received the survey?
You didn't receive it there?
The survey for the 2023. You received it again. So it did. Yeah.
Do we have his US address or is Mykonos?
Yes. And now, and then today I sent, I think it's 3 checks. I will continue to do this proposal. I know that me and Robert can sign it directly, so just want to make a motion to approve the 3 checks, and you received it by email, but I can tell you again what it is. So let me tell you, one is the Tiger Pest Control, is the invoice of January. The other one is 2 receipts from Carlos. The overall is 1409 for gasoline for the pressure cleaning, and Alfredo for the lock center solution, the mail lock, the rekey of the storage room, and 6 keys. Can I have your?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Then we don't need to do any
Yes,
communication.
perfect. Okay. So thank you, and thank you for your time.
All right. What's next?
Thank you, Joel.
The minutes of, I never received in the meeting, because I don't have access to read the meeting.
The minutes?
Yeah, the minutes from previous meeting,
None of them,
we don't have the minutes on the.
So I uploaded 3 sets of minutes that Alfredo, I think, sent me. I checked, and you guys had minutes from 125, 15, and 13. I uploaded minutes from January 10th,
The first-
17, and 24. So I don't know if there are minutes that I'm missing. I can find out. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna get access to building. I just need to confirm that his email address is correct, because that's all we need for
Okay,
for him. So, tomorrow we'll have access to building.
maybe, and I mean, maybe if you're sent to him, maybe you want to send to everybody. That we are updating video, if you still never log in, you can do so or back and put a link there, no?
Yeah, what I'll do, I can send as a blast email the link to Buildium and then the document that shows the instructions of how to access it.
Yeah.
And then if they have any questions, they can notify me and I can walk them through how to have access to Buildium.
Okay, by the way, do we have capability not only by email, but also by text message to send communication to all the homeowners?
Not through Buildium.
Billion doesn't have text.
It has
text
email,
capabilities?
no, it has email and then the ability to print and mail items, not to text to my knowledge. I can find out for a fact.
It's good to find out,
Yeah.
even, because a lot of people use text, you know,
Mhm.
for at least for short notices. Okay,
And not everyone has email.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, whenever we send a notice, it usually goes by mail to the actual address we have on file, and then it goes to their email. I've never sent text message unless I have direct contact with them. I have texted multiple different unit owners, but
Okay. All right, so now we're going to the property manager report, no?
Sorry to interrupt, regarding to this point, because Laura would have been typically, can you put a note, she's not been receiving the payments in the report from the same? She don't have email at all.
So-
She sent by letter, she used to receive by letters, but I think last year she didn't receive nothing.
okay.
And maybe they need another neighbor in the same situation, if you can probably send an email to all the neighbors.
But they don't have if they don't have email,
Oh,
then,
yes, but a letter.
yeah, a notice asking, okay,
Maybe it's important, because she don't have any information right now at the board.
okay,
Right.
yeah.
And just a final point, we need to confirm, the only accounts that are active now are in Valley Bank. So when we saw some communications in 2020 about other bank, then on 2022, this bank still appears, so.
What was the other bank?
Bank
name?
United, no?
United Bank. Do we have the confirmation that?
Orlando sent me prior to me coming 6 bank statements from Valley Bank. And those were the only 6 accounts that you have active. There's no other accounts that I know of that you have active, only in Valley Bank.
When you say that, I know
That
we do any type of.
I'll ask Orlando, I'll confirm everything that we speak about here. I always confirm with him to find out, because from what I know and what he sent me, all you have are Valley National Bank, but I can confirm with him and let you know.
And so when we have something, will it be possible, and I believe it is, so to get access to the last reports of any other bank or any other account, within Valley Bank or other banks that we have in the last 2 years?
Yeah, whatever we have on
We
file.
need those files to have a conversation with that.
Okay,
So what
so,
I'm saying is that if there were more accounts in Valley Bank, we need those reports from other additional ones.
mm,
And besides Valley Bank, for example, this credit or, whatever. So whatever bank, we need also the latest reports.
from 2023
For the last 2 years.
for from 2022, okay.
Especially because 2022 was never closed.
Mhm.
So we need to have some touch of reality on the accounts. And by the end of that year, for sure, there was more, at least one account.
Okay,
Okay, we covered some of the things in the property manager's report. Special assessment communication procedure, you gave us that letter, you're gonna email that to us.
Mhm.
We'll review that. When will you send that to us?
tomorrow, I'll send it to you tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow, and that's Thursday. Can we review that so that it can go out the end of this week? Like
What was the review?
the special assessment communicate, the first point.
Oh, yeah, I have it here.
So if you can send that to us in the morning,
Mhm.
that'll give us Thursday, and by Friday noon, you will receive all feedback from us.
Saying the first point, but the first point says confirmation of notice sent to update entry to unit 22. Are you in 4A?
For a,
For a special assessment communication.
do you have the right notice?
Procedure setting.
It's February 7, no?
Yeah, this is what it should look like. Yours is.
Mine is
wrong,
different.
Yeah.
Hold on. All right,
So, board, we can commit to that,
yes.
because it's important, the homeowners get that as soon as possible, so they understand the process. We will provide input to you. And then, by Friday noon time,
Send it up.
Friday to send it out, by noon, you will get all
Yeah,
input.
then I'll send it back to you once, with all the
And double
updates, and
confirm.
then you just let me know if that's good to go, and then we'll send it up.
Okay. We talked about B and C, D, E, F,
Mhm.
unit 22. Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, one of the things I wanted to speak to you about, that Orlando brought to my attention in regards to the notices. To be sent out, the notice of late maintenance to particular delinquent owners. One of the items that I was given is your collection policy. That was an amendment to, I guess, your current your collection policy.
Prior board.
That the
approved.
prior board approved, correct. And if you look in the delinquent report that I provided you, a lot of the large majority of the amount that is owed is due to
Late fees.
late fees. And you guys, your late fee policy is a little, actually very different than any other association that I've seen, because your late fees, they build on each other. So I think it's 10%. Down.
Of
Yeah,
balance.
so your late fees, they accrue, yeah, so it's 10% on top of the 10% on top of it, rather than usually late fees, especially for a special assessment, it's just a one-time percentage that is charged. So I just want to confirm with you that this is correct, this is.
Well,
That was never applied.
if we were to change that, we would need a special committee to be able to change that and a board vote to be able to change that. So at this point, based on the decision of the prior board, that is what is in effect.
Okay,
Yeah, and the other thing is, let me say that when I look at the accounts receivable summary of 31 of December of 2023, the majority, like 80% plus, has to do with the association fee income. There are several late fee income, but they are clearly like, probably if I add is like 600 here, then 500. So out of the overall will be 11,000, maybe $2,000.
well, yeah, I'm looking at the 3 notices that are going to be sent out this week, and those are the notices of the late maintenance to 3 particular delinquent owners, and their late fees, one is.
Well, I will say again,
Yeah.
I think before let me repeat again. First of all, we need to define the proper procedure. The second one is to communicate with the owners.
Mhm.
We just notice here that for a specific unit, we are saying 2 in arrears, 1 in arrears, and 3 in arrears. We cannot just put maintenance fees, penalties, if we have no clarity on the numbers. So the first thing, we need clarity on the numbers, communicate with the owners, communicate the procedures, and then only by then we can start with any type of application, but we need clarity.
Yeah.
We need clarity.
And let me ask a question to the smarter minds amongst us. If the board has a current policy, and I agree with what you're saying, we need clarity, we need the reconciliations to know exactly how much people owe, how much is past due, et cetera, et cetera. If the prior board implemented or changed the policy, and we are waiting for reconciliations from December 31st to close out the year, and we're not sure about that, are we still required to follow that policy?
if it was voted on and approved, I mean, from the
So-
previous board.
So all the more reason in terms of the urgency to finalize that, because if there's an incorrect charge to homeowners
Mhm.
based on accounting practices of the property manager,
Mm.
or gray area that has not yet been reconciled,
Mhm.
then we do not, as a board, want to be charging incorrectly
Right,
late fees for something that was put in one box
Yeah.
and,
versus another.
And we should be even be recommended to have these three procedures. So I'm expecting in the future that you already also do this homework
Mhm.
that we've just told you, because
Right.
if we just in this meeting realize that the same unit has one or two or three, we don't know, or some person didn't even was notified about the electric panel, we need clarification before moving to, but this is absolutely no.
Mhm. Okay,
Yeah, and maybe we can put for our next meeting to review what is the procedure and what are the fines.
well, I have your procedure here that was voted on.
And I remember it's something like by the 15th or.
It says by the 14th, it says the board wants to remind all unit owners that the monthly maintenance payments are due by the first of each month and become delinquent on the 14th. If the payment is not received on or before the 14th, an additional 10% late fee will be added to the amount owed. So if, let's say it's $100 and then it's 10%, so $110, and then the next month they're late, that late fee
Yeah, that's a lot.
accrues to, instead of based on that,
10%.
right, so it continues to build, so that's.
So
just
the
what I-
next month, 10% is on.
It's on 110,
110.
right, so that's what I was just wanting
Yeah.
to confirm that correct.
Okay. Well, if that's what we have in place, that's what we have in place.
Yeah, that's,
But first we need clarity.
Right,
okay, Unit 22. The
Unit 20
entrance.
yeah, so that notice was put on their door, they were notified. So, you guys are able to go in at any time, or we are able to go in, we just need to know when and the access is there.
And we emailed them as well?
According to Sherry, it was emailed and posted on the door.
Okay, so what is the legal procedure? Do we need to call police and a locksmith? Or it's just a locksmith and one of us? I mean, how does it go?
Let me find out for you, because usually if it's something like an emergency, like I was saying before, you would get police escort into the building, and it just helps in the event an incident happens, you have them there to write an incident report.
Yeah.
So it's really up to you guys if you want to, if you want to have a police officer there, you're gonna
I
need.
just want to do what's right according to the law, that's all, we are, and probably the right thing to do is one of you goes in. Cause we don't really need to go in, just, the idea is to
It's
look,
just a visual check.
yeah, exactly. So just to go in, take a few photos, video if needed, for the record. Now, if we hire a locksmith to open the door, then obviously it needs to be able to close the door. And there's a cost for that. So is that cost is being transferred to the unit owner?
What is the procedure?
Well-
I don't even know if people have the windows, for example, open. I don't know if you can have it by the paint, I don't know. So.
Let
I was
me,
gonna say, I haven't looked on the backside if we could even see in through the backyard through the windows. Has anyone gone back there to check?
No,
Unit.
no. It's the one next to the corner, next to Eddie. So we need clarity on the
Yeah.
procedures and who pays for the
locksmith.
locksmith and so on.
okay,
Mhm.
So yeah, if you can email us, so we can already get this done, maybe beginning of next week.
okay,
And even if the procedures allow us whoever to try because many times these things are not locked.
Mhm.
If you open it from outside, they're all.
Yeah.
or if it's lower.
Okay.
Nobody have the contacts of these neighbors?
We've been notifying and there's no answer.
Do you have a phone number for them?
At least try to call and try to understand it before you go there.
I'm not sure. Let me see what we have on file. There has to be a
There,
number
the
or an
Russians.
email or something. Well, I know the notice was sent by email and I know that the notice posted on the door. So there is contact with them. I don't know what the phone number is, if the phone number is good or not. So let me find
We have
out.
a phone number on the list. If we are talking about unit 22, we have a phone number.
You wanna try calling now?
You want?
Is it-
786?
Yeah, so let's just try to kill it. What's the number?
786
Uh-huh.
134828.
What's the name?
Emil Zalialogirov.
Emilia?
Emil. Emil, I would say the last name is.
Yes, hello. Hi,
Police, one more call.
Okay.
Reconciliation for special assessment for electrical rules.
Okay, yeah,
number
so,
T.
yeah, that was for $100,000. On May 20th of 2022, was when that special assessment, or they had. Yeah, May 22 is when that was approved, and then they were able to pay 6 months starting June 1st. And everyone has paid except for the people who are on the delinquent list with the new one that I gave you, which is the
January 31st.
January 31st. But the right, but that, correct.
So, when I get the first line there, I saw some maintenance fees there, that makes sense, because at the end of the day, this needs to get out, and now the new money gets in.
Right, and if you look, that's it's detailed to
Like
each
when it
account.
says special assessment.
2020,
Oh, the number is wrong?
special assessment, 2023, so this special assessment occurred in 2022, so this would not be for,
Oh.
or that's not pertaining to the special assessment in 2022.
Okay. What point are we on?
Or.
Okay, so we.
4G,
4G.
4G.
Okay,
But. So if I look on here, I don't see special assessment 2022.
Which means that nobody owes for the special assessment 2022, according to that report. There's nobody's in arrears for that special assessment.
okay, did anybody, because this is a question I've been asking all the time. And again, it's just a gut feeling that I have, that's all it is. And I might be completely wrong, but I have a feeling that not everybody paid. So is there anybody in Primex that actually really looked and check amount on the bank account? To actually look at the check amount that is corresponding to every unit owner and do a check mark, paid.
And I'm certain of that, because even before your payment, that was already matched. So the cost was already matched, and it was matched with other type of funds that had nothing to do with the special assessment. So I don't know if it was all those that was missing here or more, but I saw many maintenance.
I sent the check last week, and today I got a confirmation, and I checked my bank statement, and it was
Yes,
paid.
what I'm saying is that even before you pay, the balance is there, so it's.
So now we have. So out of an abundance of caution, I propose Primex that you go line item by line item and not just give us an email that everything is okay,
Right,
but by unit.
I can print
Detail
out,
accounting of payments according to special assessment 2022.
okay,
Just
But I-
for the electrical boards.
just for
Which
the
is-
electrical meter.
Yeah, electrical meters, so,
Yeah.
electrical meters, it's a one amount, every unit has the same amount, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
No, it's.
There's.
Well, there might be two or three variations, but it's similar numbers. Yeah.
I'll find the number I'll find the breakdown of the fees per unit and I'll be able to see based on that what was paid.
Should be easy to do.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Claim for unit 11 roof.
So I saw an email from one you.
Yeah.
I will ask them for the answer, the denial, but we never saw approval, denial.
Yeah.
Do you have more information?
He did ask, the person that he was, I guess, in correspondence with Lisa.
I think Lisa sent an email about all
Yeah.
the communications today,
Mhm.
but I don't know if unit 11 was there,
That's
no?
not the claim.
So-
this has to do with the flooding.
In the email, it said that Sandy had advised the engineer would expect all three buildings and all affected units, and that unit 11's damage were filed with the date of loss for 9/2/23, while a denial was issued for that claim, the engineer would do their own inspection. We asked for a copy of that denial letter, and we're waiting for her to send it to us. So once we receive it, we can forward it to you guys, we can see why it was denied.
And just for the homeowners, this was one of the big topics on Monday, is to understand in regards to the insurance companies, denials or reservation letters, et cetera, what are the next steps, and so they are now evaluating everything to understand what are
Even though that wasn't exactly the same case of the auto bid.
Correct.
Yes,
correct.
Okay.
So you're waiting on the response of the denial letter.
Correct.
And then I just see here explanation why there are 3 weeks of meeting minutes that are not posted.
But there's also two other pieces of information that wasn't really here, but we wanted to understand from clients. What happened with the deposit, the security deposit for unit 25?
Okay, let's go I first and then that one.
The explanation for 3 weeks I don't have an explanation, but I can't say why something wasn't done. All I can do is tell you what I've done. You sent me, I think it was you that sent the meeting minutes for the past January meetings, I think it was 17th, 25th, and 10th. Was it you that sent that? Or-
Yes, I
Yeah.
sent you.
Okay, so I posted those today in Buildium. I need to cross-reference to see what is in there and what is not. And whatever is not, I'll request from you, if that's okay, the meeting minutes that I don't have, or I can request from Sherry, whoever, and
What is
And-
understanding? So,
are you the one with the meeting minutes or who?
Yes.
Okay, so I will see what meeting minutes are not posted and whatever ones are not posted, if I can just email you to send me a copy of the ones that are not there.
okay, the
And-
date's usually 1 week.
Mm,
And I think the sequence so far, it's, we're missing the one from 2024 and 30.
I put 24 in there today.
Oh, today.
Mhm.
Well,
The 31st, I have not put in there. You provided me with the 31st, I have an email with 3 meeting minutes from you. And it was for the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th. Those are the 3 meeting minutes I have.
The 31st should be there, because Senate and everybody has.
Okay,
Okay.
I can,
Double check that.
yeah, I'll double check my email
Okay.
and see, and if I don't have it,
The goal is to have it updated,
it should be the, whenever.
the idea is, monthly, but, if we're now doing weekly, then weekly, according to,
As soon
a
as I
a
receive
week
it,
after, yeah.
as soon as I receive it, I'll post it so that it's accurate to the date that the meeting was
Okay.
had.
Security deposit.
Yeah, security deposit.
That was for
Unit 25.
25. Okay, I spoke to her today, actually. Angela? Yeah, I spoke to her today. Her tenant moved out in December and she has been asking for that security deposit. She spoke to Sherry today and confirmed that the security deposit is either going to be given to her. I asked her if she had spoken to Sherry today just to confirm what she was asking me, and she said yes. So in regards to the security deposit, it is being handled between her and Sherry currently, and that happened today. That was earlier this morning that I spoke to Angela. And then I called her later on around 2, and she confirmed she did speak to Sherry in regards to that.
So security deposits are put in a separate account, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So when I was gonna that check, give us a.
I'll find out exactly when that check will be ready, but when I called her and I asked her, was that handled with Sherry? She said yes. So I will confirm as to when is she gonna actually physically receive the check? So that I can follow back with you and I'll let you know.
Okay.
What about the other things? Did you get the email?
The other item
Tiffany?
is the really for unit 10, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's do a discussion about that because she needs an answer. Guys, unit 10 railing, we've been back and forth on that. Let's have a discussion and let's make a decision on that, if that's okay with you guys. So from what I understand, there was a report that was provided. According to the report, the reason for the corrosion or the damage was that water got in under the tile. And that was the cause of the damage. Am I correct with my assessment? Is that the report said? Yeah? Okay, so the fence, I heard it called the railing, according to information we got, is something that supposedly is our responsibility, that it's the original or changed by the association after the original. But the damage was caused due to the tile. The tile is not original. So the moment you make an alteration to the common area, then you basically own it. So I say let's propose to meet in the middle. My suggestion, if you guys are okay with that, is for us to purchase the railing, the actual cost of the railing, order a railing, which I think I checked on Amazon, you know, for that square footage, you know, it's something like $600, something like that. And let her do the work, hire a professional and pay for the work. And we have no responsibility for, obviously it has to be done professionally, but we have no further responsibility. Because I don't know if we want to go in and start touching the tile that is original, that they put in, and then that, you know, something happens.
Would we require her to remove that tile? Otherwise, it's just the same thing in a couple of years.
But then she owns it. I mean, it's her problem then. I mean, we fixing it once.
Railing included. Would be
We pay for the railing cost of buying a railing and shipping it over here. Here's the railing. Now it's your responsibility to hire somebody.
I have a question. So for me, I saw the email report by Orlando, about 75% that was mentioned by Mark, the replacement of the railing. I don't know if this is true or not. Around me and myself, we are all originals, which is different from these. And I truly think that when I realized this has been rolling since 2022, I believe one of the things we've talked is ask the attorney about what can we do here. So we want to solve it. We want to solve it in the right way. And I think we need to ask the attorney get a clarification. It's probably a 10-minute conversation with the attorney, so it's not going to cost us a lot, but I would feel much more comfortable about this. And I don't know if it's only the railing in the tile. I don't know. I think these
The tile is not original. The tile is
Yes.
like a checkers.
and the railing is not also original. So and the only thing is that we have now an email from the previous board, which by the way was not even that board that took the decision of replacing the
Yeah.
railing. I don't know, I'm here in the last 2 years, I don't know who took the decision to remove the previous railing and put this one. But I think we should put this in a conversation with our attorneys. And if you tell us, okay, we are responsible for A, it's one thing, we are responsible for A and B, it's another thing. Especially because of two things. First of all, this has been a long 2 years. I mean, we are maybe for 1 month, but it's just 1 month. It's 30 days. And the second thing is that we're going to have more problems with railings related with the insurance. So it's going to be important that when we address the railing topic, because we have the units here in building 2, we have the problems in others that are not conform with what insurance are offering, and probably the inspection of 50, prefer to have the attorney looking at it. And it's probably another 1 or 2 weeks. After 2 boards, at least, prior to us, let this roll over. So I think we need to do it properly.
Okay,
I agree with that, and I think there's so much gray area between HOA changing the railings, their unit put in tiles. Where's the cost responsibility? I think by getting clarity from lawyer, that will
now,
help guide us.
previous board mentioned that we should have all the information in the file cabinet. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, and let me say this, when you go to the file cabinet, you see how messy it is. So, and we have to respect the time of our secretary,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be what, a 1 month research for.
Well, I say, let's do a workshop, it will be interesting to find out these things. So my only take on this is, if everybody can follow, is the narrative that is behind this, and I don't want to point fingers to anyone. What I'm saying is that we are not against to resolve any unit owner's problem, and by saying this, and in fact, in 2022, we approached to a solution. And the technical solution was, since we saw that it was, like easily repaired, we actually produce a solution like doing a metal angle to anchor the bottom of the post, and then do a structural thick screws on the connection of the railing to secure, because it was like very, very loose. The point here that is getting a little bit more complex and more complicated is that we are receiving notes from our management that it's instead of giving solution, it's creating more problem. And everything is backing up with information that is not credible, not substantiated, and puts the burden on the new board or whoever is taking this. Because I was revising the minutes on 2023, which, by the way, it is inconsistent, and I think that it was actually passing to the lawyer, because the whole minutes are inconsistent, and the only thing that they talk about Unit 10, it was, we approve removing the tiles for engineering exploration or report. That report costs money, and they never talk about assuming the role and fixing the problem, and they have 365 days to resolve it. So how can, in December 12th, they actually do something really sweat and pass it on the ball to the next quarter? So this is what I found really far too cheap. And the fact that this person, the previous president, comes to Orlando and say, there's a 75% of the new standards that was made long time ago. So I'm asking, if 75% of this community have railing, and what about the other 25%? So for me, this is a practice that is evidently put in place before. So if we actually go ahead and touch this, and by the way, it's not a $600 cost, it's about $1,500 a railing, because we have 18-foot opening that you have to rail with a new code. So my point, when I see the report of the engineer, when they took the measurement and it is 6 inches, nobody can say here in South Florida that this is allowed by code, because the city from long time ago, it's 4 inches, and that it's the minimum. So for me, this is something that it's a gray area. We don't know. We're trying to help the unit owner, but we also, as a homeowner association, we need to cover ourselves, because we're gonna fix that. But then what happened with the other 75%, and what happened with the other 25%? So, or either we make an assessment and follow the procedure to fix everybody according to the code, and then make sure that everybody is on the same page with this. So that's my only.
Yeah.
But for now, I agree with Joao that we need to follow through with the lawyer, and the lawyer has to actually make the proper adjustment and decision.
I'll bring that forward to lawyer when we consolidate some more questions. and bring that forward so that we can get clarity.
Not trying to minimize and to set back our effort, because I really understand unit owner 10 is being, she's desperate and we want to,
For
yes,
2 years or
yes.
whatever.
But at this note, it really complicates the whole situation, because that is completely, dangerous.
Then-
Yes.
I know somebody that has rail as a big factory, so I can give you the information for free.
Okay,
I already give the metal technician to solve this problem in 2022, but nobody followed.
I tell you, this is the manufacturer, so you can go there.
Okay.
And they can do it on site without any problem. So,
okay,
It's at the factory.
all right.
good.
We good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Follow up from,
Just,
yes,
that's the question. And does anyone talk with the neighbor before we talk with the lawyer? I'll try to be talking.
the owner wants it solved
You know,
as quickly as possible.
Bob,
Okay.
your neighbor, what works in the hospital, does he still has to open the train?
I think both of his and mine are the same.
Then we have.
But this is the old rail, but then they are removed it and gave us another rail, a better rail.
So I'm part of the 25%.
No, still has to wait.
But you have the new one?
I have a new one.
But I think the old
Everybody
one,
got a new one.
So now I have a problem, because if the new one is a 6-inch and now the insurance is saying 4, we need to replace all the
Well, we
rails.
need to talk with him, because it was.
don't ask that question.
No, not for that.
It wasn't written off, I mean, sooner or later, it's gonna come to us.
But they didn't ask.
So it's not the unit is 10, you have to check all the things. Maybe the question for the lawyer, if the board made it. And why it's not clear for me, it is so simple, the board made it, because the board took the decision. Why doing 2 years, just now we're gonna fix this? What's happened between these 2 years? Now it looks like it's not a problem, is the board that changed? Why the previous board didn't decide it?
But it's not even acknowledged in the minutes, and that's one of the things that when you look at the minutes on 2023, you can say.
Ask the previous board.
No, I'm just trying to understand. It'd be so simple, because I understand that the unit owner wanted to fix the problem. But we have to clarify the thing.
Fair point, yeah,
Fair point, even for the unit owner, I
right,
understand.
yeah.
So,
We're consolidating questions for our lawyer, there'll be one of them, and we will go there.
Moving to 5.
5, Comcast, I spoke with Comcast today. We do not have any bundles, nor do we have any promotional rates, we're paying,
A la carte.
maximum
A la
amount as you can. And so I said, don't change anything yet, but we have 3 TV boxes and 3 remotes. We have a phone line, a wireless line. And so as I was talking with them, I said, I would like to know what those phones are for. She couldn't help me. It would need to be a specialized conversation with technical department. I said, I don't want to do that right now. But she's like, you are open for renewal, which means you are open for promotional rates. If we decide to remove certain things, it would just be a straight deduction, not mess up with any bundling or anything like that.
Okay,
So I'm gonna call them tomorrow when I have more time and sit down and sort of say, okay, that department, I need technical department, I'll speak with them. Do we see any activity on any of these phone lines? Yes or no?
okay, so hold on.
In the phone numbers.
In the phone number.
Because I like to call this.
Yes.
No, but hold on. When you say phone number, you're talking about a landline or a mobile? Both,
So we
okay.
have a landline.
So the mobile one, ask them, there's a SIM card that is issued by them. Because that mobile line, I'm 99% sure it's inside that red box for the fire alarm that we needed in order to pass inspection. So there is a SIM card that even if there's no electricity for the fire, to be able to call the fire department.
Okay,
So that's the reason why
But let's,
we need to verify that.
Yeah.
yes. The strange part is usually the bills in telecommunications bring the SIM or whatever identification, and this one is very vague. It's like, we talk about the services, but they are not specifying the numbers.
Because for them, it's a SIM, it's a mobile, they don't even know what it's used for, and when we have it used for that purpose. But the other landline, I don't know for what, and 3 boxes, I mean, we use them too, I mean, there's one in the gym and one here. What is the third one?
so that's the thing I'll figure out, and my position, if it suits the board. I'm not gonna make the decision right then and there on the phone. I'll get the information and report back to the board. Also try to get what promotional prices I can get. But my position is, we need to bring that price down.
Okay,
And we need to get,
and reduce what we don't need,
exactly.
eliminate what we don't
And
need.
so that is where I stand, and I'll present that back to the board.
Okay,
Violation of bylaws, parking vehicles in area where parking space is not designated.
Already introduced.
That's combined B and C, gym rules and parking, because those are community regulations and things like that.
I found some.
Okay,
So depending if it's a limited common area, then it would be, or if it's a common area parking. So I know last time I was here, you explained that the previous board had, I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but that somebody had given permission to somebody, one of the unit owners, to park in a particular area that was not a parking spot. Is that what you're
Yes.
speaking about? Okay. So I did speak to Orlando about this, and he said that that was given as a temporary parking spot during the construction. That's not a permanent parking spot where this person can park from now on. So I know that there's, I think it was unit 13, and there was 2 units that were given a temporary parking spot, not a permanent one, so that they can park there until construction is completed. So that is allowed. They are allowed to give a temporary parking spot, but not a permanent parking spot.
and I don't know, and I don't want to call it squatters' rights, but you know how like you can give something temporarily,
Correct.
but then there's a window of time when that temporary becomes permanent by continual usage.
Right.
Is that the case in this?
No, and what I would suggest is we send a notice to this person who is parking in this particular area. Maybe we can take a picture of the car in that area and you know, put it inside of the notice saying this spot, just to reiterate what the spot means to this person, you know, that you were given this spot because XYZ, and on this day, is there an end date of when this construction ended or is going to end?
If I knew that, I would go to Vegas and bet all that.
Yeah.
That's-
My take on this, if I may, is that based on the bylaws, they need to park on designated areas. This is a green area. This is a green area, and actually it is damaging the grass or whatever is growing in there. And besides, this is a liability for the condominium because we don't have any rear, because the bushes, the hedges are there, and the car is immediately parked right at the entrance. So pedestrians, vehicles, when they back up, can be a liability for the community. So this is one of the things that we need to take into consideration, because we have certain other areas that they can park and we can arrange.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Is there another better area for them to?
There's a loading area in front of the garbage, and that can actually was discussed to be set up for a temporary parking.
Mhm.
Those are
But not just for that individual.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's for guests. But beside the point, if we're looking at that specific homeowner, he has one or two parking spots, no? Has two parking spots? One. Okay, so he has a parking spot.
Is that the
mean-
parking spot that was taken
No,
because of the story?
no,
Okay.
no, his parking spot is available, just like my parking spot is available.
He has
So-
one car or two cars?
He has two cars. But he has one parking spot, like many other people. I have also,
Yeah.
one parking spot.
Same.
And
But he's saying that it has convenient because the door, the emergency door is actually.
In the back.
In the back, so he can actually have easy access, which is, I don't think this is the reason why he needs to want to.
So let's just make a decision because we've been talking about this for a few weeks. Are we comfortable sending them a notice saying you're no longer allowed to park there?
Yes.
Are you gonna provide I guess, an alternative place for him to?
we don't have to provide an alternative place because,
Or a suggestion?
yeah,
It's so able to talk to our landlord. So it's, the unit in the other floor who was given two temporary spaces because the roofing company
Took that spot.
Yeah.
yeah, so if the construction is taking somebody's space because of the construction, then obviously we need to provide a solution and
Right.
take one guest parking and give that to the homeowner that parking was been taken from. But in this case, nothing was taken or given. I mean, it's just, he just has two cars and he's just parking them.
So let's send a notice.
So,
How far are we willing to take that? Are we gonna start towing him if he parks there after the
I mean,
notice?
you can
Is
give
there-
him you can give him a date, as of this date, the board has agreed that, you're no longer allowed to park in this area. You can give a suggestion.
You have two parking lots, you have all the.
He had one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark Antonio told him to park them. That's, he can park them,
But if the previous board,
Mark.
which they don't have the authority to do this, I've spoke to Orlando about it. The previous board did not have the authority to give somebody a permanent parking space. Parking spaces are assigned. In your case, it's an appurtenant, so it's not transferable.
Right,
So it's by deed, so
so we'll send, if we're
So
fine.
let's send a notice, let's say, March, from March first, we start going.
as of March 1st, but I need to know the actual unit that
Do you know the unit number?
Unit 41, can we press an axe letter, it's not too weird.
Can I suggest that observation? Because once again, I think maybe, I'm not defending the owner, but if someone giving the wrong information, why the previous board, despite for something that in the base was wrong, probably have to be another type of letter saying, listen, probably someone told you a wrong or took a wrong decision, and now the previous board are saying, why is right? Was correct to give him the permission to be there when he's not allowed. This is the point.
Yeah, just to clarify, but I think Primus will actually do a
Yeah.
nice letter, and send it to them.
Because just saying that on March you can park,
Yeah.
this is not the point. Someone give you the wrong information that was temporary parking lot and is not a parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, we can say, obviously, it will come to our attention that previous board told you that you can park here temporarily.
But they didn't have the authority to do that. That's
They
just
didn't
plain and
have
simple. They didn't have the authority to do that.
So just to try to be nice.
My position in almost everything is assume positive intentions, and so. In that, I don't like to escalate it right away to, you're getting told, you're this and that. Let's start with reasonable, hey. You're right, communication, you were given wrong information, us as a board, we have a responsibility. We want to let you know you can no longer park there, there's spots available.
For all the reasons.
Yeah.
Just to give it some insight of the.
Can you show me where the spot is?
Yes.
Just so I
Yeah.
can see.
When we leave.
Okay.
Next to the garbage.
Actually,
Excellent,
okay.
Excuse
legal
me, I have a
updates.
question. Can I say
Um,
something?
So
Hello?
Monday, we had a,
Oh, the rules and
Hello?
regulations, what's the other thing you were gonna speak about?
I think,
At the gym. I don't know if you wanted to still speak about that.
You
Yeah.
said you looked into something?
No, I was just gonna say, I only, what I have is the rules and regulations of the gym and then the rules and regulations of, those are the only two. I
Did
looked
you
at.
not say anything about dogs?
No, no.
It does not say anything about dogs, so if you want to vote on adding that to the, that can be very easily added, but there's nothing in there that says.
It's only on the gym because pool and the other, the clubhouse, you also have. that.
Alfredo, do you make the motion to add that?
Yeah, I can.
I second your motion.
But if
I've
it's
been-
like
I've been-
a
I've been
training
trying to
dog
say
and he wants to really
something.
train in the gym,
That's only.
No.
okay.
Hello?
Legal updates. So, as we discussed in the last week's meeting, and was approved, voted on and approved by the board, we have changed lawyers. This Monday, we had a meeting with the lawyer. It was a closed meeting. I believe you all received notices of that this was a meeting between the board and the lawyer. We spent 3 hours in which we talked to the lawyer beforehand. We said, this is part of onboarding, don't charge us these hours. And he said, okay. So it's not like we're spending thousands of dollars on that. The lawyer, we had an agenda, we had a document where we sent that to him beforehand and gave him time to think, and we had a bunch of different items that we went through. From obviously roofing to, how do we operate? How do we change from old lawyer to new lawyer? Which we've already sent the official communication to the old lawyer. Luckily, those two lawyers know of each other, so there's a professional relationship to navigate receiving information from the old lawyer, which is important for our own records that we have historical documents and elements that are critical to Leeward Point. In the discussion with the lawyer, what I've come to learn about HOAs is 2 words that I hate, but I fully understand, and that is, it depends. And what I mean by that is typically most HOAs have rules and guidelines and bylaws and things like that that would say ABC. Here's how you operate. He said, we need to dig into those bylaws. We need to dig into those contracts. We need to dig into a lot of those different things to determine, did you all protect yourselves in the roofing contract? Did you have certain clauses in there within the roofing contract?
Talking about parking, talking about.
You have the capability of doing different things. So he's currently, and his team are currently researching and digging into the informational basis of the questions and the content that we
I would
discussed.
have the walls open, I don't care. I would
One
wait.
of the things that we are trying to arrange is a conversation with the current roofer.
You can't get through.
Why do we want to do that?
Your friend,
Because at the end of the day, they're unfinished and they're open and there's elements that we need to progress.
And we had damage.
And we had, yes, damage. One of the things that we discussed is, because we've been discussing a lot, is
Don't give a shit.
potentially the capability of the
That was my
possibility of a public adjuster,
he doesn't give a shit.
an engineer, in a specialized engineer, not the one that we have, but a effective,
No,
independent engineer to come in and look. The good thing we learned from speaking with the lawyer is you don't need both. If you bring in a public adjuster, they're going to take 20%, 30%, whatever the agreement is of any claims you win on. So if we earned $1.20 would go right away to that public adjuster. So we pivoted from that and we are bringing in a specialized engineering firm that goes around and does these types of cases all the time to look at and inside of people's units with the approval of the owners, obviously. Look at the roofs, the mansards and the other elements so that we can get a better understanding of a true expert coming in and seeing what was done, how it was done, and how all that fits together. Part of the other thing that we discussed with the lawyer was the corner trusses. If you remember from last week, there was a third-party vendor that was about to put a lien on Leeward Point. A lien basically holds captive, if you will, any owner of that or any owner of that property or anything from doing anything in that property. So if they put a lien on Leeward Point, no owner would be able to sell, any incoming person would not be able to buy, it would be frozen until that lien is taken care of. In a simplified definition.
Gary?
And looking at that, as we discussed with lawyer, he said, get all the information you can from that third party. We reached out to that third party, we're collecting that information. Very important in all of this is how do we engage with the roofer?
Of course, you know that.
In a manner that is blunt and to the point, but not yet completely blowing everything up. It's a dance that we need to go through because at the end of the day, there's a liability that he has towards us and partially that we have towards him in that if we were to say, roofer, go away, we don't want you anymore. There's a possibility that he could come back and sue us for breach of contract. And then, and whether that's right or wrong or indifferent.
I would leave it here.
That's not the point. So how we go is really looking at how can we find the middle ground to control the processes, verify the quality of work, and move forward to an expedient solution that protects Leeward Point. And that lawyer is working with us to work with that information to be able to guide us in the steps and processes going forward. As you know, there was one unit on Sunday that had water infiltration. And in that, that was in building 2. And we were on hand delivering that. That's when ServPro came in. But all of these things to the treasurer and his report, all of those things from those vendors who have come in to the drywall contractor that will need to come in, take out and replace, to roofing solutions and looking at the future buildings that still need to be done. What we have now is greater clarity in the process, but we don't yet have the final answers to sort of say A to Z, here's what needs to happen. Those contracts are being reviewed. We are getting greater sense of how we will approach this. But from Leeward Point's board, we believe that now that we have a legal representation that is not just assuming certain things, but digging into the core content and really devising a strategy that I think will help us. That is something that is going to be beneficial for all of us.
Okay.
Anything else to add?
I would say that we we could have a discussion about this specialized engineering company, or we want to see more. Because this is the company that starts the process, but we are talking about NV5. So should we start this discussion? Because this is gonna be very pragmatic. The moment they start here, there is the moment we start. But I don't know if we want to wait for the next meeting. We want to start discussing this now.
Let's first did we get already all the pricing from them and information to move forward?
All the information is being forwarded about a week ago, and I think we need to respond because they are already complete phase one, and we need to move into the phase two. And remember, it's not only the forensic assessment, it's also the preparation for our 50-year certification, where they are going to help us out both on the same line. So for us, it's really critical that we need to make sure that we consent and we agree that we are moving forward in order to get those two things in the same line of
Okay.
So,
I mean, we decided that, we need an expert engineer to check all this, so we already kind of agreed on that, so we are comfortable with the company, the only thing I'm not comfortable with is when we get the bill, to be honest.
And I would say that the decision is for us to start, even if we define a path, to start negotiating with them to follow first step. It doesn't mean, okay, come here tomorrow is a decision that, okay, we're going with them. We don't need to tell them exactly this. And then I say, look, what is the bandwidth of the costs we are expecting?
Yeah, to
What
give
is
an
the
estimate,
information?
some
Give
kind
an
of a,
estimate, but it's like already like, we know that we are going, we don't need to tell them immediately, because we can continue to push, give them information, etc. And the moment they get into the field, they start to charge. That's for sure.
okay.
So
I think the commissioning is very important, especially for the building certificate. We don't want to run for the last minute because there's so many items that we need to be aware that needs to be repaired. And they are the people that are going to tell us exactly how we are going to approach to resolve all those items, because there are many important items that needs to be resolved and needs to be addressed besides the roofing.
and when you take care of that to ask for bandwidths, because for example, the inspection, to give it as a report on the inspection, I would say they might know if it's 2, 3, 4, whatever the price, because I think for a 41 unit, 4 building plus clubhouse, they might know how much would it cost us.
But we don't need for 41 minutes.
No, what I'm saying is that for the 50 years inspection, they're gonna do us that recommendation. What I'm saying is that they cannot go wildly expensive on that, because if they are go wildly expensive on that, then it's better to ask for an inspection. Whatever comes from the inspection, we will know directly from the city, and then we fix it.
In general, regardless of 75, I'm more towards that, because we already passed the 40 inspection. How many more things they can have? I'm not saying they're not gonna have, but let them come back to us, and then we're gonna tackle those problems. This is my suggestion, why we're gonna go spend money, and maybe the city after that, is that, yeah, you're good, or gives us something else.
That's what I think.
I would say, let's not do anything, beside what they already specifically told us to do in the letter. But beside that, let's not spend any money before because the city, not like the city comes and says, here's the fine. No, they say, you need to fix this, you need to fix that, they give us time to do it, and then we go and we check.
I would say they're dependable in what, if they ask us, like 10,000 students in that report, we would say no. But if they ask us something that gives us some comfort before they come into the city, why not? Because what we are risking is for each one of these inspections, we have to pay not 260, but we pay 250. So the risk of doing another inspection is not that big in terms of cost. So if they can come here in 2 hours, they give us an assessment, then we pay $600. I think it's good. But if we pay like 6,000, I think it's too much. You see my point?
So basically, it's asking them, what do you do for the 50-year inspection? What includes and what's the cost? They can give us an estimate on that.
And you have that in the letter,
But
right?
you read that in invoice and you have that scope of work. I don't think that you guys are reading it, but the first thing that he's actually concentrated is on the forensic engineer. So he got the spectrum and the scope of what we want to do with, all the other, because this is a multitask that needs to be set up by, not only by engineers, also by inspector, by electrician, by, even all the crews.
And all the people are going to be, interact. So they say that they're going to do a billing based on the rates that they have, but the decision needs to be made by us because they already made the first movement. So right now, what I understand for the forensic engineer, they already have the proposal done. So it's us to go ahead and do that, and also ask them, so what we're gonna do in the process of the recertification.
And what they're saying is that for the flooding, for sure, but for the recertification of the 50 years, if they lost at something astronomical, then it's not a problem to fail the test. Like if the test, this one, okay, we failed, we tell us what we failed, and then we fix. So if they can do an assessment in a very cheap price, I don't, just like an idea, okay, can you come here 2 hours, do yes, if they've gone here to do a full assessment and charge us thousands of dollars, then I would not move with the, so just have an idea how much would it cost.
So basically, I would ask him, do you have standard pricing for 50-year recertification
Analysis.
That's
What
it.
technology we have, because imagine it's $5,000, so it's too much, we can know this directly from the city. But if they can prepare us and during these 2 months, they say, look, it's just a matter of fixing this railway, trimming this tree.
Joe, it's gonna be in the thousands. It's not gonna be $600.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in the thousands. I mean, that's,
The decision is on our court right now because the invoice is pending there, the proposal
I'd
is
say,
pending.
I say, let's start with the forensic part that they need to analyze for all the damage that we had, the flood. And let's let the city come and do an inspection and give us the corrections, and that's it.
My only concern is since the situation with the Champlain Tower, that procedure is a bit different and it's more stringent. So one way or another, we're gonna require specialists to actually give us a test for structural, for electrical. I hope that, with all the improvement that we did, it's all okay. But then also we're gonna have, to check and test on lights and, functioning around the dock, whatever, it's happened, and we're gonna need specialists. So I don't know if working with this company, we might have the opportunity to get all these issues, addressed because they already have the crew. Otherwise, we have to supplement ourselves because the city will tell us, this is what you need to do, go and do it. So then we need to actually go and pay for services for engineer or for other inspector, which is going to be, again, another cost. Whether if it's cheaper or not, we're gonna incur with the cost.
Here's what I suggest, and I hear what we all are saying. If we will make the decision for the forensic that has to be done, and we need to move on that. We can ask them at the same time, give us a ballpark figure, which is like a rough estimate. If we ask you to just look, here's the letter from NMB for the 50-year recertification. If you were just to do an quick assessment of, are we good? Are we bad? Do you see ugly things? Not, whatever. What would you charge us? And then they will give us a price, and they'll be like, well, it depends, if you want us to dig deeper, blah, blah, blah. No, just give us a estimate of just a health meter of where we are at for our 50-year recertification. Then we have that number over here. Forensic, we're moving forward on, we have to do that. Now we're bringing it together, but we're separating the two costs.
And
You know what I mean?
Okay,
I agree with.
Making a motion to.
I don't think we need to make a motion, but yeah, if you wanna make a motion, make a motion.
Because we need to tell everybody else.
yeah.
Robert, you need to actually, address that. Are you will send a letter to them or you want to do that?
If you will do it, and then I sign the overall contract, I believe.
Okay.
Is that,
Yes.
yeah,
All right, so all in favor?
hi,
Okay.
good.
Okay, now we're moving to 7, updates on construction damage and all that. Yeah, can I? All right, so first, on this, let's address a question from Angela. She's here on Zoom, and she sent us a question, and 100% understand her. She basically saying she needs to start working, she needs to move forward. She cannot get any more delays. She needs us to approve, a licensed contractor to start working on a unit. She already understands. She put it here in writing on WhatsApp. I know you're not going to pay twice. I understand. I assume the responsibility. If there is further flood or further, intrusion from the roof before the roof is done, then it's going to be on her responsibility, and we are not responsible for that. So I completely understand her. She needs to bring in a new tenant. And
What did when we talked with lawyer, we talked about this, and was that the one where he said we create a release of liability or something?
so yeah, we should probably make her sign some kind of release of liability that, she can go ahead and do the work. But if there's further damage before the roof is terminated, before the roof construction is done, then it's going to be on her responsibility. And what we need to establish is the cost per square foot of drywall. So what I suggest, if she already has the constructor ready to go, we can get maybe a quote from her constructor on what is the portion of drywall, and then compare it to another one, and then establish basically a guideline. This is what we pay per square foot for drywall, do the work, and this is what we're going to pay you.
I think you are arriving to the point that I would recommend, which is, and I was mentioning this to Ron the other day. There will be like a square foot and a price associated with each one of the units. The problem I see of any unit that breaks ahead and starts to work is that right now we don't have that square footage validated by this engineer, and we don't have the price. And that's what I would say is that the adjustment that will be done fairly to all the unit owners. So what will happen is that we don't know if it's going to be exactly what people spent, not only in terms of the square foot. I'm giving an example. Imagine that I tear down all the walls down, and then the assessment says you should only have taken out, for example, half of that or whatever. And we don't have the price right now. But for that risk, the unit owner can go ahead, in my opinion, understanding that the adjuster will then make an evaluation on the price on the square foot.
Okay.
So we are not, to be much more clear, we are not compromising, in my opinion, with any type of value. And that's, I talked with somebody related with Angela the other day, said, look, in the future, there will be an adjustment that might be exactly the value you spent, or less or more. The important part is, for example, in the budget, we have it very well identified. This is for the drywall, this is not for the drywall.
Yeah.
But right now, we don't have the square feet, and we don't have the price per square feet.
Okay, so would I be, I'm translating what you said. Would then Angela should maybe start the work, understanding that we cannot give her right now the price that we're going to pay her, because we are doing a certain process that's going to be fair for everybody. And once we arrive at the right price per square footage, which might be more than what she paid her contractor or less than what she paid her contractor, but it's going to be in the ballpark, she's going to get some money from us for the drywall. after we do that. But in the meantime, she needs to get going. She also has mold in her unit. So, you know, she needs to move ahead. So I mean, I say, let's allow her to do that, understanding what are the risks that she's taking if this happens again, and understanding that we're gonna come back to her with the price per square foot. Obviously, we need to know how many square foot before she starts working on.
Yeah, because it's not replacing all drywall in the whole house.
Yeah, it's replacing some parts. So I think that even Carlos can measure, you know, the drywalls that are not there.
We are doing a process for all the units, okay? And then obviously, if we alter the process of measures, etc., it will have impact in the process. And I would remind everybody in the room that on Sunday, we were helping one of our neighbors to drive his home, taking out water. Robert was the one that was helping more, etc. So we are not doing this like, okay, we don't want people to move ahead. Is that we are being talking not only about the process and the damage that can come afterwards, but also being cautious about the process of how many square feet and what is the price associated, because it needs to be an evaluation.
Okay.
For some units, we cannot be Carlos, and some units, Mr. whatever.
So we have it legally translated into a letter, you know,
Sorry.
what's on agreement. Everything that you're saying and what Alan is saying, translating into a lawyer's letter that we can agree upon, and then, you know, because if something happened, God forbid, and she's doing the renovation, and then again, got flooded. So we don't want to pay double cost.
Yeah, you know, and I think on that point, we already.
We're paying the double cost, but in terms of abuses, and I'm not talking about this example, it's like saying, okay, now I'm gonna take the chance because the HOA will pay drywalls, I'm gonna take all my drywalls. So somebody type of rationality in the process, and we cannot put Carlos, I like very much Carlos, doing an elevation in one side, and then these NG5 doing on another. So what I would once again say, document, that will be my recommendation. If Andrew wants to move ahead, document everything, film everything, etc., knowing that the number of square feet and the price and everything else, it's gonna come out later. So we are not answering right now that we're gonna pay 1, 2, or 3. That will be an assessment from the.
Okay, what I'm saying is because of the urgency of this matter, we need to try to find a solution for the homeowner. And sometimes the solution is an exception to the rule. And I agree with you that we need to establish that and be fair to everybody, but that process is taking time that she doesn't have. So we need to come up with a solution for her so she can start doing the work. So what I'm suggesting is, I mean, I think that the only thing that we are still not 100% aligned is who's measuring and how do we really know that, you know, how much wall is going to be replaced.
We wouldn't sign the ready, so we wouldn't.
I was gonna say, if we.
So that's why we need to look at the,
If we sign NV5, what's the turnaround
Yeah,
time?
basically you need everything, yes.
How long does it take the 5 to start the job?
Not in the company, but I can probably say, you know, that tomorrow.
Look,
And they can set.
I'll make that a point.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll volunteer to go take photos, even measure, you know, how much square footage is there in the wall.
It's compromised, so.
No, the thing is that we're not the experts to understand exactly what are the pieces of, you know, mildew, you know, shingles that are going to be taken out.
It's possible they can't here.
But regardless, she also has mold, so she first needs to take care of the mold before she even, because maybe when she brings the mold company will cut more drywall. So first we need to do that, no? I'm asking.
Why not coming the NV5? We are about to go for the NV5.
Okay, so
For the insurance.
should we, I think we should put a date. A date that if.
You guys are sending the email to NV5, yes, tomorrow.
Okay,
Or.
but what I'm saying is that maybe MV5 comes back to us and says, listen, next week we're busy. We're gonna start only in 20 days. That 20 days might not be acceptable. So let's put a timeline where the homeowner knows that if we don't give the homeowner an answer by then, you know, she needs to start the process. So,
I can take one insurance, and then know exactly what she will get. But it was the insurance,
yeah,
she can call her own and homeowner insurance. Instead, this way, that way, and the insurance will tell her.
Does she have homeowner in?
I don't know. Do you have homeowner insurance, Angela?
I just hope everybody in the room and I'll repeat these in such a.
Okay.
Exactly.
Angela, did you get a report from an assessor from the insurance? Do you have any report saying with the damage and, you know, in a report where we can see it?
Yeah, they actually came and I've been waiting for them, but I haven't get any answer yet.
Okay, can you try and get answers for that, Angela?
Yeah, I can try.
We cannot hear you, by the way, but we can read what you're saying.
You can hear me?
Okay, so please, the only thing that is stopping us, as you hear right now, is that we're trying to, you know, with an engineering company, to establish the exact damage that each unit had. And then move fairly and accordingly with everybody. We understand your urgency, we want to help you. So, you know, having a report from your insurance company, so we know exactly what is our responsibility, that would really help us. So if you can get on the call with them and try to move forward, we tomorrow already moving forward with this engineering company, and hopefully we'll have an answer of when they're gonna come and check your unit, measure and give us a report on the actual damage, so we can give you this approval. In the meantime, we will also do a draft of this letter, basically the lawyer letter, basically excluding us from any future liability if there's further damage. And I think that we will have more answers for you by next Wednesday. And maybe in the meantime, you get that report as well.
Okay, so they can't hear you, but there's a couple of things you need to be clear.
Can you hear me?
No, they can't hear you.
I cannot hear you, but I can, by the way, are you with the computer open? If you want, you can send a.
No.
I cannot unmute, I have a problem with the computer, but if you want, send me a WhatsApp voicemail and I can hear it on my phone.
No, they have to unmute me.
She told me that today.
I know, I do Zoom every day.
That's something that was gonna be spoken at.
He's been responding through here.
I already received that assessment bill for when they removed the drywall, it's like $7,000, so we have to compare that to how much you guys come up with, so I get reimbursed for that, and I'll wait if you guys can come up with the fixing the drywall.
Yeah.
Right, it's gonna take a while, that's okay.
Alright, I have something to tell you.
You need to make it a landlord.
Okay, Angela, you can send a voice message through WhatsApp. I'll be able to hear it. I cannot unmute the computer. So just send me a WhatsApp voice message. Okay. Let me continue with the roof real quick, to give a, you know, quick update.
With the answer?
There's nothing.
I'm waiting for her to answer on WhatsApp because I cannot hear her here.
There's nothing.
It's not that I'm muted, it's just that I'm having some kind of a problem with the speakers and Zoom on my computer since we started with the lawyer the other day. I don't know what happened.
Really?
Trying to figure that out. Okay, let me continue with the roof update. So right now today they closed
You have
the
your phone?
corners, 3 corners, I saw already
Okay,
finished
send a
in
message to
building
this
3.
guy.
And I
You're gonna
don't know
save
if they
him?
finish any of the corners in building 2. When I say finish, is closing them with the
Here,
wood
you're gonna
completely.
save his number.
And there's one
305
corner which is
219
in building 3 that cannot be added because that
9391.
corner is an extension, an
Save
enclosure.
him and I send him.
And until we don't legalize that enclosure, they cannot finish the roof.
But the legalization of the enclosure is.
It's their responsibility.
This is the answer we need to get from them. It's they still didn't even start.
They said, oh, that in the first call, we said no, in the second call,
Alan.
they said clearly, they are signing a contract with the unit owners, where the unit owners not only to do the enclosure, but also to put the permit and set it,
Okay.
and they need to live by that agreement.
So let me tell you the update. When I spoke with the engineer and on Omar, the manager, okay, he told me that there's only 2 enclosures they're working on, and that's when the engineer came and she didn't let him in and all that. Only for 2 enclosures, not the corner enclosure. He said the corner enclosure, I've been told nothing is being, we don't do anything. So everything is stopped. They're not doing the work on that. The engineer just came because, we contracted them, I think, a long time ago. And the engineer is the first step of the whole process. They just came a few days ago.
But it's not our engineer.
No, it's their engineer.
Yes, but they will start the process of the corner house, correct?
From what I understand up until now, no. This is what Omar told me. Now, that's in the next meeting with the roofer, that need to be addressed.
Because we already have proof that this work was paid. Okay, the work was permit, so they charge for work.
Unit 29 pages.
Yes.
Unit 25 pages.
Yes,
And
25.
it's 19 pay already.
The 19. And that's good, yes.
Okay, and regarding Esther, and today I was sending emails about it. So they never had the drawings so today I sent it to the engineer, as you saw in the email. I sent all our drawings so they can finish that part.
Give you an example.
And she told me in person back last week
that they're not gonna pay
Esther's
you. But
unit, they blocked
listen,
one of the
for your place
how do you call the water exit?
you're on the hook.
One
You're only
one of the downspouts, yeah, they completely blocked it. They completely sealed that hole. Okay. So when they did the closure.
Because they fucked up.
And I recall something about that like a year ago, 2 years ago. So I know who to call about it.
Yeah, I understand.
So she said, look,
Sign a blanket release.
we need to find a solution for that because
Go to your house.
legally the roof has a design and has certain holes, and if one hole is blocked, we need to say, okay, so come with a solution. Give us a solution. Don't give me the problem, give me a solution. What are we doing? We cannot pass a drainage through Esther's bedroom.
For 10 grand, 20 grand.
So today I reiterated that in the email. I don't know if anybody read that. Basically, she said, it's like, yeah, you already told me that. What's the solution?
20 grand.
We need a solution. This is
They're
why you're
not
here.
gonna have to pay.
So that's where we are. At least now they have the plans of the enclosure, and hopefully we'll find a
You
solution.
would never actually fix shit in the house with the risk of having to pay the roofers. They walk away.
No, first of all, what they're charging Esther, I'm saying it right here in front of everybody.
You sign a proper release.
Just
for the 20 grand that they don't want to pay twice.
Because in Esther's case, there's no engineer work beside that hole, which is not the responsibility of the roofer.
Yeah.
I didn't wait.
It's not part of the
And you don't have-
responsibility.
Then they're
They're
not gonna
charging Esther 2,500 for material?
pay the 80.
What more material is there? I mean, it's how much is shingle?
That stopped me from
Let's say
working
it's
on that.
double the
You're not
shingle. It's
allowed
not $2,500.
Me to sign a release that
Let's say
absolves.
it's double the black paper. It's not $2,500. You know, it's
When they
just
come up, when they come.
no
with-
reason to charge her that money. I mean,
That's the design.
You need to tell.
but the design we give her, we give her the design. No, there's no drawings.
There is a sequence.
How come they couldn't hear me
You
before?
also need to pay for the pieces of process that they are going to conform to her new roof and also the material. And I think that by rough calculation, each enclosure of all these roof are about like 70 to 90 square feet. And those 90 square feet needs to be paid and absorbed by each individual unit owner that have this enclosure, because it's not the common area. And this is not the money that the whole community is paying. So for that, I think that this is exactly the price that they are right. How do they make the calculation? I think it was lower in my time. Right now, it
Okay.
seems like this is the concept, drawing, design, materials, and.
But in Esther's case, there's no
material.
drawing. Esther's case already has the drawing.
But she
They
has,
know how to
but
connect.
she's been paying half,
I know.
okay, so half is for material, for the trusses, design of the trusses for her particularly, for her case, and also for the plywood, for the decking, for the waterproofing, and for the chain.
But there's no design of the trusses. The design, that is already
They
provided.
need to, when they say design, they need to build, they need to actually make a framing in order to have a new material.
Okay, then.
That material
then
is
you
not
ask
paid
me-
by the community,
but
it's
hold
paid,
on.
it's paid by the homeowner.
Okay, but then we are in a way asking the homeowner to pay twice for trusses, because let's say she doesn't have an enclosure. Then she's paying for the normal trusses. Now, the normal trusses are not being put there. So she's not supposed to pay for those trusses.
It's a non.
There's gonna be a new trust done.
Alan, the logic of is that we're paying for a non-common area that we are enclosing.
I think the point is we can ask Rob during that conversation, but, at 2,500, it's at least half of what the others are paying.
The other solution. On top.
And we see that, but that's from the engineer.
Design.
Yeah,
But that's from the engineer, from ACG.
for downspout, there
For the
needs to be
downspout.
some other solution that Yanexi provides.
Should provide.
Esther pays for that, because
That is something, that would be fair, because but obviously they're gonna charge us for that, and that was done because of her closure, so that would be fair for her to pay, yes. But it's not included in the 2,500.
And what about building 3,
Building 3,
in terms of downspouts and the.
there's the same problem with the corner.
with the 29.
The corner also, they blocked one, so the same problem is in 2 buildings.
When, my take here, going back to history, the contractor already figured it out, because when they did the waterproofing on the flat roof, they already figured out where the drain and the stoppers and the downfalls are gonna be located. So I think this is already sorted out, regardless of whatever the conditions are gonna be on each particular enclosure of those particular unit owner. So the downspouts and the drainage are already being calculated and already being set up in a plan.
So
Okay,
that
so-
means in the conversation,
Yes, ma'am.
probably they were able to.
They will rate it, they will assure, where are going to be the drainage and so forth.
And you're gonna have it only you?
No, not only me.
No, but it was not the exchange of emails that you were with the attorney, like saying very conservative, because they just wanted to talk with you.
No, I don't want to be the only one on there, and you all said you would like to be there.
Okay.
Not that we're all talking over each other,
So
we would have to make ground rules, but we would all be there to listen, so,
Okay,
but we would have some ground rules going into that conversation. I would want you all there to hear
When,
it. Otherwise, it'd be like me trying to explain to my wife how was my day, and I say it was good.
yeah, I have a topic here that I'm very worried, is that we need the technical assessment of these materials, so.
Yeah, that is
I
important.
spoke with Chris, so we say, after 2 weeks, and he's still not getting back. I probably will follow up with them, and I'm gonna try to get
their email and then trying to escalate to, like to the corporate right there in Michigan, because he promised that he's gonna come here, but he actually have to get the green light from the headquarters in order for them to send a crew to inspect and to make an assessment on how much of the quantity is being lost.
Good question, Mark. Could NV5 also look at these, or I'm talking about?
No, that has to be Durolast. It has to be the manufacturer. Manufacturer is the one thing. We can ask.
them when they're here, it's like, hey, do you think that this is, like, by the way, but at the end of the day, those that give us the warranty is the manufacturer.
We always need to go to the strategy that if they tell us 100% loss, they buy the dollars. And we have to track them, if they exaggerate on the commercial lot side, we might choose.
I did that exercise, so.
So, but you can tell them directly.
Well,
we're not gonna buy.
But the conversation is that we are the end user, we are not their customers. So Rob Hall is the customer of Durolast. And for that relationship to be, like breach, they need to understand, and that's exactly the reason why they escalated to the headquarters, because they understood that our relationship, contractor relationship is really, falling apart. So they're going to basically give us a favor. I don't think that, we are the biggest, customer or the biggest interest for them, because this is a small project and they're going to try to see if they can help us out, because otherwise we are not going to do business with them at all.
Yeah.
This would be also a great talking point with Rob.
Oh, no, definitely. And then I'm going to try to encourage to have a Zoom meeting with all of us, with them, and then set the time to go and then do this reassessment.
Yeah, and by the way, if we need to throw this, we're gonna have to pay money to throw this.
Each one of us gets two.
Spreads it.
There's no money.
There's a dumpster by the shell.
There's a lake behind the house. Okay, Angela, I think we addressed your points. We are, you didn't say me anything further, but if you want to say anything, again, my speakers are not working, so I know everybody can hear you, but we cannot hear you. You can write to me. Right now, we are waiting, we're on hold, waiting for the report, waiting for your report from your insurance company. That will definitely help us. So let's give this a few more days and we'll wait. Yeah.
I'm going to send it tomorrow because I want to call NV5 first, if you're comfortable with that. I want to see if they're flexible at all on the rates. I see their hourly rates. I'll just one ditch effort to see if we can have any type of negotiation on the rates. And whatever they say, then I sign and send it off.
Okay.
Or send to you to send off, since you have that.
I think that they're willing to meet us and to have that conversation. I think that will be a good opportunity for us to have that.
You fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Angela.
Basically, if I move forward with this company, that they already cleaned the mold last week. I already sent the statements, and I understand about the waiver from the lawyer, but this is the thing. If I cannot move forward because you have a roof company that we don't have exactly a termination date, and they're not securing the roof while they're working on it, I shouldn't be liable for that if I have a second water intrusion. Let's say that I have $20,000 in damages now, but then we have another storm wind, and now it's 100,000. I understand you will not pay for the 20 that you already paid, but then you should cover the other 80 because now it's a bigger damage. So I'm not just gonna sign a waiver that's gonna limit me completely.
Okay, so.
That's why we get the proper report from the engineer.
Yeah, but she's saying that she's not willing to sign a waiver if there's again damage.
It makes sense. What I'm saying is, it makes completely sense. So if you imagine that then there is a cataclysm in the roof when they remove the roof, and then it's not 20,000, like she said, it's 80,000, she's right. So that's why we're following the NV5. We need to be proper. Because then we are assuming that responsibility on our side. It's like saying, this is the measures, this is the cost, this is the steps we are giving. And whatever it goes wrong, it goes back to us.
Yeah, but maybe I'm not understanding or you don't understand. Even if NV5 comes tomorrow and says, look, the damage here is this square footage and that's about, and the cost per square footage is this and that. We pay the homeowner, they do the repairs, and a week later, when they're working on the flat roof, or a month later, they open and there's damage again.
But in that case, it's our responsibility.
If there's damage again?
Of course, we are responsible, unfortunately.
But all the point that we were discussing here is that we are trying to explain the homeowners that while the roof is not secured and it's not done and sealed and under warranty, we cannot pay again for drywall.
The proof of that is Sunday, we had another flooding in unit 50. So we were right to be conservative. We just 3 days ago, we had a massive flooding in one of the units. So we went door to door looking for others. So we were right about being conservative, that's for sure. Now we are hoping that there will be a point in time when Absolute Pro will tell us, right now, they even promised before the incident of Sunday, that the roofs are secure. What we are putting on top of this, right now by the way, we had rain on Monday or Tuesday, nothing happened, so we are starting to be much more secure right now. And on top of that, we have the NT5, so we have the conjunction of the two things to move ahead. If an incident after happens, I believe we're gonna be responsible.
Then, but I don't understand the purpose of the NV5. The NV5 is not going to guarantee you anything that the roof is secure.
Tell you that how many square feet is reasonable for each one of these units and what will be the price associated. So it measures what will be the liability on the side of HOA to prevent any owner that was affected that suddenly go beyond what is reasonable.
Yeah, then I understand.
That's the point I've identified.
It's saying similar things, a little bit different. And I think your point, I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If unit 15 changed the drywall, and partly what you're saying, if unit 15 changed the drywall the day after the first incident, that's HOA's responsibility. Drywall.
No, because we haven't went to the process. So imagine, let's put the end. She had an incident on October, and on the day after, she puts all the drywalls, and then she has an incident in November, and puts all the drywalls, and then has an incident in December, puts all the drywalls. We as an HOA, it obviously to talk with the attorney, but I think it's reasonable to say that the HOA is not responsible for the owner to repeat building the HOA.
But that's what we're saying.
So no, what I'm saying, that's for sure. But I'm saying that after we have a day like Monday and Tuesday, that no flooding occurred, it's different from Sunday. Now we are starting to have evidence that the roofs are starting to be secured. We have the NV5 on the other side. We combine the two to move with more confidence on the replacement of the drivers. So this is what I'm saying.
I would not correlate the fact that there was no water intrusion since Monday with the fact that the roof is or not secured, because they continue working and maybe they're opening something else or they're doing something and there might be further damage.
We are for sure minimizing our risk, correct? We are now having rain, and for the first time that we have rain since the beginning of October, it's the first time that it rained and there was no unit affected. So we are now much more. Did we minimize it to zero? No, I never believe in that risk. Did we minimize it a lot? Yes. If the homeowners have a flooding, then repair, another flooding, another repair, I would say, okay, wait a little bit because we had a huge, massive problem in the roofs. So that's why we ended up flooding in October, in November, in December, and now in January. So I think we are now combining the two to be much more secure. Are we secure that tomorrow will not be a flooding? More secure. I'm just saying that we are much more secure.
Okay, I still don't understand, because we spoke about.
What's your solution for this case?
I mean, we discussed before, and today we said we're going to let her do the work, but she has to sign a waiver saying that until the roof is not done, and we don't have the warranty from the manufacturer, we're gonna pay for the damages, but we cannot pay for another damage. this was the point that I think we were all in line.
Yes, but he doesn't agree for you.
Yes, she's not agreeing, and that's what I said, she's not
What
agreeing.
I'm saying is that the moment, because the moment we have entry file and saying, look, this is the drywalls, this is the cost, and by the way, this is the way we see the roof secure, so you guys can start changing the drywalls. From the moment that the HOA takes that decision, there's no liability to future events.
But I think, but we agree, I think that for all the unit owners that are living in the unit owners, we're gonna ask them to wait a little bit until it's secure. With her, in her specific case, because she needs to fix and get a tenant in there fast, I think we are doing it to the rule.
Is she the only one who has, is she the only one who has mold?
I don't know.
But I mean, what's unique about her place that mold is?
There is no unique about her, the only thing unique about her situation is that she had a tenant, the tenant moved because he heard the word asbestos. So she's losing income, and she's right to want to move ahead, fix her house, and put in a new tenant. I completely understand, I would do the same exact thing. But the position of the board was, up until 2 minutes ago, that we're going to ask Diana
Hello.
Because they might say, guys, we cannot secure because if it's a huge rain, you're gonna get flooded again. And then we need to talk with absolute price. Guys, the NV5 is telling us that we might have a flood. And we're
Okay.
not gonna put dry walls if NV5 says we are at risk of doing it.
Okay, so what would you say, Angela? We wait.
NV5 is gonna be contracted, and they're gonna come into the present, they're gonna measure.
Upon results of their findings, we will communicate.
Yeah, okay, now she also, I think, mentioned that she provided an invoice for the mold remediation. Correct, Tiffany? She provided invoice. I think you also gave me also an email that she sent.
Yeah, the email was sent, from her, and it just details the different items that she's already had done.
Okay,
She's, again, is waiting for her insurance company to send her
Okay.
that.
okay, so I think that regarding reimbursement, is that something we want to tackle all together for all unit owners? I mean, how are we going to address that?
What did you say?
So she sent an invoice regarding her mold remediation. So,
My recommendation is tackle like.
Will also invoice for the most stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also an invoice.
okay, so yeah,
To address
everybody together, I agree. So yeah, Angela, if you're still here, regarding all the expenses you have invoices, we're trying to tackle everything together and make one decision for everybody that is fair for everybody, and then we're going to.
Based on an expert
Yeah.
evaluation,
Yeah.
which is why we are hiring a very considered firm, which is RP5. Everybody said it's very good to do this assessment, and then we talk with one, we talk with the other, we talk with Natalie, we talk with Angela, accordingly to the results.
Okay.
Okay, one thing that I need to add on the construction, it's, since we are nearby finishing and doing the shingles, I just wanted to make sure that the material that was approved in January 23rd, it's follow the specifications that we set, because there is an inconsistency between the price and between what it says on the contract, and that rock all needs to actually say, because the fascia, the metal white fascia was there, and also the shingle with the same specification. So by looking at the price and looking at the contract and looking at the specifications, things doesn't match. That doesn't. So that's, for me, it's a red flag. We need to understand what we are putting on the roof based on our specification. Last time I remember on the communication that we have with Rob, the five of us, he said that he was okay with the shingles. I haven't seen, there's no sample for us to compare with what we have here. And he's saying that the metal fascia, it was something that he needs to double check because he wasn't sure about our decision.
I heard them say about mold minimization.
The previous president make a quotation or make a reference between one price and the other.
Gonna say something about the invoice that I sent.
Excess, whatever it is by the change of the rates or whatever, he purchased the material when it's close to finish. So the difference, it will be adding to the contract. And this is the thing that I need to understand, because before it was included and now we are going to be responsible for the excess. Depends on the market, depends on, the time that he purchased. I understood that he got already the material. So I'm really curious to understand where is it.
Making sure that he bought the.
That he bought it, go to the place where he had a storage, check it out, and compare with the samples that we have and see if we are comparing apple to apple.
Let me do a recommendation. Can we tomorrow include Robert in the topics for the meeting?
Sure.
This one is critical, so this, and then we organize the topics, so we don't put the ball in the beginning, so we take the lighter one.
No, I'm just anticipating because there's not any votes.
Topics we cover in what we need from his side, because sometimes he says one thing and then says another, so.
Because right now I have a list for the conversation: shingles, unit 29, downspouts, equipment and parking lot.
Okay,
And then
enclosure,
enclosure,
and add the water damage. Now, for the water damage, so I suggest that for that call, each of us asks on specific subject. So you asked about what you just mentioned and everything related to material and the contract. I'm going to create a presentation with photos, video, timeline of every damage for every unit regarding water.
I don't think that's appropriate for this conversation.
Zero.
Why?
This is because he's already told us he's not responsible, etc. So right now, that battle is in another field. He's gonna tell us, no, Brian.
I think that element is going to be in the lawyer conversation.
This is just for his topics, guys, we already paid for the enclosures, Esther has a tube that needs to be filled, whatever, you know?
Okay,
Because he already told us, people left the windows open.
And my recommendation would be, not that I'm the only one talking, but I'm 90% the one talking. Unless I absolutely miss something and someone speaks up, because
No, definitely, one person channel the whole.
Yeah.
Service, I think would be the best.
Yes.
but the list of items is important from all of us.
okay.
And by the way, what I usually do is that we have a different chat, and then we include you in the chat. Whether, because it's nice, then you see, okay, you won't forget. So even if you're forgetting, we can include you in there.
Okay.
Did we cover
I
everything?
think with regarding construction, according to what he told me, they're supposed to finish this week and, closing
Who's that?
the roofer.
Okay,
Closing where they can beside the enclosures. And next week they start 1 week for building 2 to do all the shingles and 1 week for building 3 to do the shingles. And that's supposedly the end of it.
Huh?
And then
How about the roof?
And then that's a different topic. We need to see if this is worth anything.
this was all for the rest.
Because I think that if we're gonna throw all this in the garbage, we are going to go back to
This is
zero.
$150,000.
Now,
That's a disgrace.
My roof is like a swimming pool.
who is going to do the mistake for that?
Oh my God.
it depends.
Because
Now learn this.
But no, and let me explain why. If there's elements where it can be, if we cancel the contract, is that a breach of contract? We understand all that. If it turns around and it looks like we have grounds to breach that contract, and then we decide to go in a different direction, they would probably sue or counter sue or something like that.
Now, I think that the client have the right to breach the contract by cause, and I think that this is.
And so
It's
it's,
more than a.
let me finish real quick. If legal representation says by looking at other things, when the prior board signed that contract, they did not put in provisions of ability to exit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just hypothetical. Then they say, you create greater exposure by canceling that contract, you need them to finish the roof.
now, say we use another contract for the roof. If he comes to us and says, look, the way that you put the seal is not the proper way. So have we found another contractor to check the job that is already done?
Well, for that, we have an engineer. We have an engineer that,
That's what I'm afraid. That's what in the contractor we have right now, if we start moving.
no, he's not gonna start removing anything before we know about this.
I know, I'm saying, forget that. If we start moving, how are we sure that it's going to isolate all the penetration so we don't have nothing again during that time?
Yeah, well, this is a question
That's
that,
the engineer.
no, that's a
No,
roofer.
the engineer that supervise the removal and the new. It has to be there.
Yeah.
So if you can tell us how to.
Yeah. I'm,
Say the same roof for, we're required to go with the single roof. And then my directive, hopefully the rest of the board would be, you're not doing two buildings at the same time. You're doing one building, section by section. Yeah.
And and expand a little bit on your take. What we are gonna do right now with this contractor, if we can finalize, it's only the answer. The roof, we have to actually, since this has already been maintenance twice, we need to resurface, so that means that we need to take the whole material, and that is where they will come to renew all the penetrations around. So this process might easily take by another contractor, and the contractor we are going to select with the system, because we know that this is the most expensive roofing system, because we have EPDM, that which is the one that we have right now in place, that we are going to change because of the city requirement. And then we have three different type of roofing, TPO, and then we have the PVC. I think that if worse comes to worse, and we lost the materials, we need to look into our budget and see what we can do with the system that we have available for our budgets to consider, because I think at this point of the game, we need to consider to go a one step down, not to have a Cadillac, just to have a regular TPO that actually fit on our needs. So that is one hell of a process that we're gonna do with three contractors and people that can be familiar with the system and can tell us exactly, how we're gonna proceed on that.
I agree.
Yeah, okay. So for that, don't worry that we probably will take care of that. We need to actually make the final decision, which I hope it's not.
I'm going to be in February, and then I'm going to come back here, and my husband is going to be there.
Yes.
We just promised, we may not have the Cadillac, but we're not gonna go for the Ford Pinto.
Exactly, for Kia. All right. What else? Maintenance. Just a little update on the maintenance. We were able to finish all the pressure cleaner around the community. I think that the last part was the perimeter area with the south where the playground is. Carlos did a good job. He pressure cleaned the walls, but there is some falling of the paint and the stucco along that wall that needs to have repaired. So I think that for this, I believe that we have still paint, but I don't know if we have plaster in order to cover all the stucco that is falling off. You can actually see it. And that probably will be an operation that we're gonna have by next Saturday. Also, the
Carlos can do that, right?
that
Carlos can do that?
Carlos is doing that. And also the painting of the entrance, the pavers, the red pavers on the entrance, which I need to buy epoxy paint, which is, like a five gallons, it costs about $250. So I probably will go ahead and do that. We already have a paint to paint the curbs, and I think that we have enough paint to paint that wall. But we need to actually get with the plaster to fix those. Water leak has been reported. Well, that's another thing that we're gonna do with the paint that we have.
by the way, I looked at the wind, thing for the tennis courts. Those that are on the side, the old ones, we can, because the wind is not so much on the north and south, it's more east to west because of the building that is blocking. So we can take the north one, that is the old one, and put it between the court and the
Talking about the windbreakers.
yeah. So we can take the old
They're all
one,
destroyed.
the old ones, the new ones are destroyed, the old ones are not. So the old ones that are north and south, we can put them east and west for now until we buy new ones. But the old ones, if you look at the connection at the bottom, they're much stronger than the new ones, and they are intact.
Okay. And well, we have today we have an incident. We have a water leakage reported by Unit 14. The water pipe is running along the dock and is broken and is like immediate repair. So Primus came here and closed the water, but we have the situation that if somebody needs the water, so then probably might be, a concern. So point here is from tomorrow to Saturday, when Carlos come, I don't know if it's going to be easy to make the repair since the pipe is running, over the water. So I don't know exactly how difficult it's gonna be for Carlos to fix that. So Primex already offered to do the repairs, but this is something that we need to consider in order to stop the leakage, because it's a pipe section that is, like first.
Water is cut off the document, does it do the all docks? Or just that section?
It's just that section that
Okay.
Nothing goes further.
One shot.
I think it's gonna shut off completely everything, yes, I think so.
No, there is a valve where is edgy
Uh-huh.
that gives to this part here, so you know how.
So the east section, so then that the east section,
And
so.
another one, the unit 29. I can show you this one.
Okay.
So are we waiting for Saturday to see if Carlos can repair, because chances are,
You can't, then Primex?
I was
well,
gonna get pricing of what, because we already sent someone out, they took a look at it, so based on what they saw, they'll take pictures and then we can get repricing any of that parts.
It's included in our monthly rate, right?
No, I don't think so.
Apparently, I like that to be low tide. Otherwise, you have no, especially in mine, right? Because the dogs are lonely, so you
It's
know.
still for nothing.
No, I have some material for the repair. I can tell you, I have material for the repair. I can.
It's kind of what you can do for nothing.
No, we have.
Angela is still texting me. We still didn't give her any adequate answer that she's accepting. I'm just letting you guys know. So if you guys want to have a call with her or whatever, but she is
Well, the
upset.
check is resolved, the check for the security deposit is resolved, right?
Yeah, the check is resolved, but again, she's writing engineering to measure walls. So you guys are gonna take more time. I cannot wait anymore. If any of the board or you or Carlos can come tomorrow and measure or do whatever you need to do. But it's over a month waiting for an asbestos test. Now more waiting. I can't. I've been very
Well,
patient.
the asbestos test worked out in her favor.
Yeah, I know, but she's losing money every day that, her unit is not rented. So, we need, usually drywall, any handyman can know how much drywall is gonna go, it's not that complicated. We just need to know measurement, we don't even need to know the price. We just need to know, okay, in Angela's unit, we have this amount of square footage. We don't know how much it's gonna cost, we just know this is the amount of square footage. When we get to the pricing, we'll give her the pricing. So she can start working. Because if she starts working,
Does
and then
anyone
she says,
know,
I change everything,
does anyone know how to determine what's good drywall versus destroyed drywall? I wouldn't know.
I would imagine,
know
I would
what to
imagine,
look at or-
it all destroyed drywall was already removed, especially with asbestos. And with
It's really compromised, and tomorrow is gonna call the NV5, we're gonna sign the contract. We are moving tomorrow, and by the way, we haven't been stopped for the entire month. We've been running to get.
Another thing, remember, Ron is here, we have to be careful with the other owners, because Ron was here saying that he's already gonna make the contract. We have Diana too in the same situation. I'm trying to be outside of seeing the other neighbors, we have a neighbor here, telling that he's being patient, going through the process. If you start to make exception, this is very delicate, you have people living alone. I understand she have an income, but in respect to the other neighbors like Diana.
Ron has no expense.
And Ron is saying, listen, I'm living in the outside of my house and I have to pay the rent. In this case, you have an extra cost. So the only suggestion I'm giving you regarding to what Ron was saying, you have to be more sensitive for the other neighbors too. I understand she have a problem regarding to the income, I think everyone respect. But the point is that the other neighbors gonna feel, what about me? I'm going for this for long and I have another test too. And the board already found the solution, why we do impact for this? Person is coming, Alfred, you say one of the days.
Tomorrow we're gonna start moving that.
Can someone explain to Angela, talk with her, I don't know, maybe I have to talk with her.
I'll try to explain. Okay, all right. All right, next. Done? When's next?
Monumental meeting,
Yeah.
3 hours.
Oh, wait, it's no camera.
Oh, yes.
What's happening? I don't know. What's
Okay,
happening?
well,
Has Mega showed up?
let me see if I can put the situation a little bit more clear. Johan is supposed to be coming here this week and he hasn't called. I follow up with him like a couple of times, left message. Today, I left another call and he told me that he's gonna send the crew because it's not only the camera, also is the problem with the lights on the dock and also the 2 lights at the entrance of the pool house. What is calling my attention is that we have temporary permit on the city and the permits are calling for solar panels. And by solar panel camera, this is feeding by solar and the whole flow system work with solar panels. So that means they are auto-sufficient on energy. So for that, they don't require any permit. So that's why this particular company have temporary permits on the city based on the equipment. So my concern is that from one point on, this camera doesn't have the solar panel because there is some situation that I don't know exactly why, because the technician usually look at the spot and tell you exactly, how the device will work. So they decided to select that spot, fine, but they already encountered that they have trees, so the solar panel might not be as their potential use. So the alternative was using electrical conduit, which Chelsea, one of the project managers of that company, suggest and give us all the electrical information for the contractor or whoever is going to come to actually plug the camera. The thing is that we need to, in order for the contractor, the electrician, do the connection, he has to do it with the permits, and the permit needs to be, in concordance with the permit that is pulled out for this camera.
If we pulled it from the box, from the electrical room.
Yes, so it definitely, and this is the direction. They say that no matter what, we needed to have with the permit. So therefore, we needed to have a dedicated feeding from the electrical room. So that means that we need to go all the way to the room because those boxes that are nearby the post are not going to be actually passed by the city. So there is a situation with the permit, something that I need to understand. I already called twice Chelsea and another person from Flock in order to understand why we have an equipment that is originally purchased as a solar panel, and then all of a sudden we have a camera with no panel, but also the circuit. So also, I don't have the documentation. I understand that from January 23rd that equipment was approved. It was a range of money from $1,800 to $2,500. So the price that is being, being said, it's not clear yet. So I don't know exactly what is
the camera is there. We just pay a yearly fee, which is about.
Well, they have a package, which is they say, okay, we provide you the post, we provide you the camera, we provide you with a solar panel, but the solar panel is not there. So the thing here is that we need to understand from the last minutes that they approved in January, how much the condominium pay and what is the reason why we have electrical conduit since.
I
the
can tell
permit.
you that.
Well, I think that I actually requested documentation and you say that you don't have it. So I was actually trying to see the purchase and the specification of the equipment and also what Chelsea has to say in the last conversation that he had with Mark Antonio or maybe with
I have all the chain of email with Mark Antonio and the original.
Well, I don't have it, so that's why I was shooting on the dart and I was trying to find the person. So Johan is already on board. He knows exactly that he needs to do the installation, but he put me into this situation and say, I don't know why this camera have a electrical conduit, since the specification says, because I gave him the plan from Chelsea and he say the camera tells that doesn't need an inspection because it's a solar panel, but it's not a solar, it's an electrical.
Did you give him the kit that I sent you? There's a kit, a PDF kit for electricians.
Yeah.
On how to
That's
connect it
exactly
to the electricity.
I will show you the answer from Johan, and that's exactly what I say, Johan, there is a misunderstanding here, and I need to actually find common ground within the company, between
Did you
the
check in the
HOA
city?
and between.
Did you check in the city if there's permits for that?
There is one, but it's a temporary permit. It's not a permit that he can actually say, yeah, I'm fine with it, because the equipment doesn't require permit because it's a solar panel. They actually think that it's auto-sufficient, so it doesn't require any installation. So, well, Johan is going to actually let me know exactly from this investigation with with Chelsea, the project manager. And when I see the whole contract, I will understand exactly what we pay, because then we are missing the solar panel, or we don't understand why they took us, the solar panel and give us the installation of the cord. And I need to understand what is the price.
That is in writing in an email. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And I was involved in this from the beginning. I sent him the photos of the probable locations in the entrance. They evaluated because of the tree. They said we have two options: solar or electrical. Because of the tree, they say solar might not be the best solution. If you have electricity close by, let's do electricity. We agreed. We moved on. They came. They installed. We just need to connect to electricity. We're making it very complicated. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the complication comes when the electrician, that it's actually going with the proper license and proper, like permitting. And then he told me, well, I have this situation, I cannot proceed if I don't have this clarity. So what I'm trying to say is, since Alan didn't provide the clarity, I'm trying to actually, recreate the whole situation and make sure that at least we have a common ground and we are not running into any
Here's my
mistake.
recommendation, that is, we are presumptive or making insights without the final analysis of Mega Electric. So let's wait to see what Mega Electric says in terms of options, A, B, or C. There might not be a C, it's either A or B.
Exactly.
And then at that point, then we can make an informed decision as to whether if we go from the trash house there, does that require a permit? If we go from the electrical
No, we're ready for all these possibilities. So he said, if it is permit and it's all okay, the only way is for me to go with the city with the permit. That's the right way to do it. So that's exactly what it is. We're trying to minimize the cost, but unfortunately, the way that we're going, this is exactly what Johan told me. You don't need to just make the decision, because at the end, it's gonna bite you when you have all these city people, coming to this investigate.
All right. Anything else?
That's good. So let's
Thank
talk
you,
to
everybody.
it, just
No, definitely.
close the open and go from there.
Just waiting.
Thank
you. And for the association, so we need to, talk a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Are we adjourned?
We are adjourned.
Done.